Welcome to the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink for the 54th annual Codfish Bowl championship game between the 8th-ranked UMass Boston Beacons and the visiting SUNY Cortland Red Dragons. My name is Seth Dorensky, joined by Matt Meisenbacher. And Matt, the first game yesterday went about as planned. UMass Boston maybe had a little bit more trouble than they expected against Tufts, but a comfortable 3-1 win in which they led by 3 goals at the midway point. On the other side for SUNY Cortland, down by a goal. They score a fluky goal in the second period to tie it, a goal less than 2 minutes into the third, and ride junior goalie Nick Medica, 46 saves on 47 shots. It's an eerily similar matchup for UMass Boston to, well, most Codfish Bowls, where the Beacons might be a slight favorite, but they're going to have to face the hot goalie and beat him enough times to come away with the title in their own tournament.
Well, first off, Seth, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you. I know yesterday had to miss the game. Happy to be a part of this Codfish Bowl once again with you. And I would agree. I think your assessment is fair. Modica, goaltender, I know fairly well. Played with my little brother growing up. So seen him play since he was a young pup. And you said it, a goaltender that likes to face a lot of rubber. You take a look at his shot totals, especially last night, 46 saves in total. So a guy, and we've seen this happen against the Beacons. You know, if they can't generate a lot of those grade A scoring opportunities, I mean, they're always going to throw. We know their shot totals are always going to be in the 40s, if not higher. And so for a goaltender like Modica, that kind of plays into his strengths. A goaltender that likes to get into a rhythm, see a lot of rubber. We'll have to see what the Beacons throw at him tonight.
Medica struggled a little bit in the first period yesterday against Brenathan College, was able to make the saves but was giving up some rebounds, but grew into the game, made a huge save in the second period with his team already down by a goal. In transition, the Brenathan College goalie made a mistake playing the puck behind his own net. It led to the game-tying goal, Medica making at least 15 saves in all 3 periods in that one. And you know Medica, which means you know that he is an extremely tiny goalie, 5'6", 165. But when there have been hot goaltenders in this Codfish Bowl tournament, and it's been the story year after year, players a year ago like Blake Watala, who are huge, we've also seen some smaller goalies, some wider goalies. Doesn't really seem to matter once they get in that mindset. As a former goalie yourself, how do the Beacons go about getting into the mindset, getting him a little bit flustered after he had so much success yesterday?
Yeah, you know, again, I think the Beacons have gone toe-to-toe with a lot of these strong goaltenders, particularly in the Codfish Bowl, a tournament where they, this being the 54th, haven't had a ton of success.
Just only 5 championships.
Right.
Didn't play the
one
first
out of every
5 or 10, but
right. Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of funny. This tournament does some weird things to the Beacons. It's interesting. They come in usually hot. This year, about as hot as ever, and it should be, on paper, a nice matchup for the Beacons. I think you look down the other end, the other goaltender, Bailey McBurney, and boy, oh boy, I mean, he's gone from, you know, goaltending battle, am I going to be the starter this year, to one of the best goaltenders in all of Division III with the numbers he's putting up right now. He's absolutely on fire. So it looks on paper like maybe should be a little bit of a goalie matchup, and those are around the sport of hockey. It'll probably end up being 7-5 and a total shootout.
Let's take a look at the highlights from yesterday's game. McBurney forced to make 31 saves on 32 shots as he was a huge factor in the Beacons earning the 3-1 win over the Tufts University Jumbos. And welcome back to a rainy Boston here in early January. Typically, you expect snow at this time of year, but we've been getting rain throughout the month of December, now early January. Let's take a look at the team statistics for these two sides. Not a surprise with UMass Boston sitting well over 500. SUNY Cortland well below it. That the Beacons have a lot of the significant numbers, but the thing that pops out to me is that 94.5% penalty kill for the Beacons. It's now number one in all of Division I, II, and III on the men's side, and Division I and II on the women's side. There are 5 women's teams, though, on the D3 side that have a better mark than that. That just shows how good the penalty kills are on the women's side in Division III.
Pretty fantastic, yeah. I mean, you take a look, I think all those numbers, right, you can go down the list right there, the ones we show, and obviously these are pretty standard numbers. It's not like we pick and chose the ones that kind of are best for the Beacons. I mean, these are just standard numbers that people go to when they look at team statistics, and I think every single one of those is a standout. I mean, shots per 37, I mean, that's high. The penalties, I think, that's a high as well. That'd be the only negative, 15.9, so call it 16 PIMs per game. I think that number's a little bit high. Coach Bly, I'd like to see that down, but boy, oh boy, you know, there has been no regression to the means for this Beacons team. They've really been hot to start the season and hot through the first half. Should carry over into the second now.
Let's take a look at the team leaders for these two sides. For UMass Boston, 7 different players with 10 or more points, led by Nolan Redler and Daniel Nakbar, who's having a career year as a junior. On the other side, it's Alex Storjahan, the sophomore out of Arizona, with the team leading 6 goals. The other 2 guys, his line mate and center Sean Perichak, with 4 goals, 6 assists, and 10 points. And a really strong season from assistant captain Mike Crowley, the second-line center, with 10 assists and 12 points. One of the few guys on that team out of the North American Hockey League. For Cortland, they don't have a lot of big-time scorers, only one player with 6 or more goals. But just like the Beacons, it's a balanced attack. Tough to really identify one guy you have to shut down.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the thing that stands out to me, though, you've got one guy on Cortland who's just under a point per game. Beacons have 3 guys that are at or above. In 4, Albano, Santa Pass just under, and then Knockbauer and Redler just over. So you've got 4 guys, and then you can really go down the list with the Beacons. I mean, I'm looking at the statistics now here. I mean, most of these guys, they have what, close to 10, if not, 10 guys in double digits in total points so far this year. Talk about a balanced attack. That's something that the coaches have got to love.
The real matchup to watch might be the goalie matchup. It has been in the past, a pair of 3-2 Codfish Bowl finals the last 2 years in which the Beacons fell a little short. Nick Medica, in his first year as a full-time starter after playing just 3 games his first 2 seasons. Medica, a really strong .920 save percentage for the Beacons. Balin McBurney, 31 saves in each of his last 2 games, a .955 save percentage during that stretch. And this crazy part is his numbers are even better here at home. Keeps that identical 1.75 goals against average, but a .937 save percentage. I mean, McBurney, for whatever reason, has been outstanding as the Beacons are 8-0 this season here at the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink.
Well, and as well, you take a look, I think that the thing that stands out here is the save percentage is McBurney close to a 93, which is outstanding, but Modique at a 92 with a .281 goals against is telling you that he faces a lot of rubber on a consistent basis. When you look at those numbers, what's not being told is the shots on goal per game, and I'm sure the numbers are staggering in favor of Modique. I'm sure the averages are quite high to have a 92, but a .281 goals against.
Yeah, Medica, you're talking about a guy who this season alone has had 5 games with 30 or more saves and 3 with 40 or more saves. Take a look at our player to watch, Matt. There's so many options with this Beacons team, but one guy who's really stood out as of late, Daniel Nakbar. Team best 2 assists yesterday, but 18 of 23 in the faceoff dot. And that is huge when the Beacons have so many weapons and can draw up some of those offensive plays, knowing that an Ethan Nickin, a Nick Albano, a Gabe Chuckring can get a good look right off a faceoff.
Yeah, 2-6 came in his freshman and sophomore year. Is kind of guy that was battling for time, you know, your 3rd, 4th line. But whatever he did this summer has really translated into a totally new, revamped Daniel Knockbauer. I mean, I think his points speak for themselves. 14 games played, 15-point total, so just over a point per game. But he's a top-line center now. He's moved all the way up the lineup. I think the thing I love on a consistent night, he brings it. He's got speed, and when coaches talk about being hard on pucks, one of the players they probably look to is Daniel Knockbauer.
Set up the Beacons' 2nd and 3rd goals as UMass Boston earned a 3-1 win yesterday. We're going to bring you the Beacons starters, take a commercial break, and we'll be back with the Cortland starters and the keys to the game as we're just minutes away from puck drop here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Garrison Santa Pass, senior forward, Northbrook, Illinois.
Danny Nakbar, junior forward, Richland, Washington.
Ethan Nickin,
freshman forward, Miami Beach, Florida.
Gabe Chuckrin, senior defenseman, Media, Pennsylvania.
Nick Albano, sophomore defenseman, Beverly, Massachusetts.
Bailey McBurney, junior goaltender, Beverly, Massachusetts.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go.
What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people, it certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
And we're back for the 54th annual Codfish Bowl championship game. Let's bring you the starters right now for the visiting SUNY Cortland Red Dragons, who have had a really nice string of success in regular season tournaments. They've won each of their last three, haven't lost since the 2007-08 season. See that top line, Keller, Pericek, and Storjahan. The defenseman, DiMatteo, and Schiebel, with Nick Medica, the goaltender. A very young team. 18 of their 26 players are freshmen or sophomores. Just the one senior. That's assistant captain Mike Crowley. Bringing the keys to the game, Matt. And what really has stuck out for all of these teams in this Codfish Bowl, that first goal has been huge. UMass Boston this year, 11-0 in scoring first. For SUNY Cortland, 4 of their 5 wins have come when they've scored that first goal.
We said this before, Seth. You know, there's been some screwy things that have happened in this Codfish Bowl. Just you never really quite know. A lot of times the Beacons have really good matchups in this tournament, whether it be the opening round or the whatever you want to call it, the medal round, the final round, and we've seen some really strange teams come in here and upset this Beacon squad. Now, like you said, keys to the game, the power play, traffic in front, always the key. But boy, that first goal, I'm a big believer in that first goal paying dividends. When all of a sudden you're playing from behind, and we've seen this Beacons team, when they get one, they have a tendency to get 2, 3, sometimes 4 more in a hurry. So should be a good matchup here today, folks.
See Nick Medica there in his crease. Cortland sporting the great red uniforms with the checkered pattern, the names on the back. The Beacons in the home whites with the blue trim as they go from left to right on your computer screen. Face off one back to Nick Albano as the Beacons collect and look to gain entry into the zone, which they do so. Cycled around. First player there is Albano, trying to get some help from Daniel Nakbar, Beacon's top line center out of Richland, Washington. Garrison Sanapass able to get some help from Gabe Chuckrin and keep it in for the moment as Cortland collects right in front of their own bench. Nakbar out there with Sanapass and Nick in a line that was put together about 4 or 5 games ago and has been incredibly consistent. Ethan Nicken scored a goal yesterday. Sanapass and Nakbar combined for 3 assists. Puck collected there by a Beacon just behind Nakbar, but he takes it in. We'll give it off for Sanapass from the far circle. Shot a little bit wide, and it'll come all the way out back to the Beacon's blue line where it's collected by Garrett Gallagher, who plays with Brian Carter today. One of the few changes for the Beacons, who did insert Evan Helt into the lineup in place of Tyler Sifferlin. Up top, it is Zach Bross, who has his shot knocked down by the stick of a Cortland player. Lost. It's Bross with the rebound over to Roviak in front. Medica's down on his back, but it's knocked away over towards the far boards.
Yeah, you got to recognize, is it a righty or lefty there? If you're Bross, you make that dish. You're in the slot as we get a whistle. Looks like it's going to be an offsides, but you know, that's one of those plays you try to, it's a quick play, and you're just trying to dish to a guy backdoor. Maybe get a one-timer there, but being that it was a righty that he's dishing to, it's tough to get that one-timer off, as a lefty would have a much easier time. That's one of those instances where even on a 2-on-1 like that, Ross might want to think about firing that puck, but the shot he has and that real estate, boy, I'm sure the coaching staff will pick up on that as well.
Mike Crowley wins the face-off, the second-line center for Cortland, the Beacons' third line out there. A little bit of a new group as Riley moves up from the 4th line in place of Sifferlin, who is out today after absorbing a big hit against Tufts. He's out there with Stevie Bryan and Jeffrey Skinner. Cortland in the zone, trying to create a little bit of early offensive pressure. They had just 17 shots in the 2-1 win yesterday over Bryn Athyn College. The goal midway through the second and early on in the third. Beacons trying to put a little bit of pressure on the puck here as it's Michael Shorey with it along the boards. Now a fellow Cortland player comes over to give him some help. That's Connor Beck, who scored the game-winning goal in yesterday's contest. Skinner all the way across for Gallagher, the Beacons' assistant captain, one of just 2 players to wear a letter for UMass Boston. Controlled in his own end and sending it out as Louis DiMatteo, the sophomore out of Nobleton, Ontario. SUNY Cortland is pretty close to the Canadian border, and almost half this team is from Canada. Sent all the way into the Beacons half. John Regnard will give chase, and that's enough for an icing. Regnard teaming up with Pat Harrington today, and a little bit of a change for UMass Boston.
Seeing a SUNYAC team today, and a league that not too familiar with UMass Boston. Don't really see. I know recently maybe played, I think, Potsdam. There's been a few SUNY teams that have come in UMass's face, but a league usually dominated by Oswego, Plattsburgh, Geneseo is another good squad. It's a good league. It's a solid league for those that might not be familiar.
Great effort in front, but it's tipped just high by Doug Elkstem. Easily the best chance for either side, as Elkstem was all alone in front. Cortland trying to keep the pressure up, and that is just out of the reach of a Cortland defenseman. It was actually Elkstem filling in for one of their defensemen, and it comes out. Fortunate for the Beacons. Matt, you're right. This is just the 3rd SUNYAC team to appear in the Codfish Bowl. The Beacons fell to SUNY Brockport in the 49th edition of the 51st edition of the Codfish Bowl, and then Brockport went on to win the tournament as Derek Caruso looks to go 1v2, gets the puck back, and Albano will send it along the boards for a player just on. That's Nakbar, who couldn't quite get there, and now a foot race, and it's going to be Shorey one-on-one. Shorey comes all the way, and McBurney holds on, and then McBurney gets thrown to the ice there as the trailer runs right over him, Stefano Alonzi. And I don't believe we're going to get anything out of that, as the puck never quite made it in, and then Alonzi didn't know where it was, so I don't think they're going to get him for charging the goalie.
Well, a lot going on right there. You saw the player coming off the far wing here. You'll see on the replay, Shuckran has no idea. That's a lack of communication there. His D partner has got to let him know vocally that he's got a guy coming behind him. A great stop from McBurney to recognize not just on the first save, but to get a push and keep himself from going across the goal line, as that would have been an interesting decision to make there for the referees had he crossed his goal line. But a great effort from McBurney, but Beacon's got to be better in the communication. You can't allow your defense to be blind like that. Have a guy coming off the off wing just creeping in behind on a breakaway.
That was Nico Gonzalez, the 4th-line right winger, and not Michael Shore, who had the good chance there. Gonzalez took a hard hit into the post, and then the follow-up was the captain, Alonzi. So nothing doing for either side on that one. The Beacons gain possession. It's Nickin, has a couple players in front, toe drags and has his shot denied by Medica. Nickin getting some help from Nakbar. This Beacons top line has been very successful the last couple of games with at least 1 goal in each of their last 3. Nakbar from the near circle, 2 defenders towards him. Now it's Gallagher sending it over for Carter. Carter, the shot whips wide. Medica might have gotten a piece of it. Now it's Gallagher trying to send it in. Knocks the stick of Alonzi off the hands of Alonzi, but he is able to draw the Beacons offside, and they have to touch up. Behind the net, Sanapass working against a Cortland player, able to get it over for Nakbar. Nakbar in the circle. Nakbar towards the net, trying to get all the way in, shoots, and he is denied by the post. Great effort from Daniel Nakbar. Everything but putting it in.
Well, the one thing here, I mean, this top line has been great all season. Sanapass, Knockbauer, and Nitkin all working really well on that. What a shift. I mean, culminating in front of the net, just cycling. You're going to take a look at the replay here, folks, and just watch as this play comes from behind the net here. It's going to be a little bit of a breakdown. 2 Beacons, you see there's an opportunity to pass there, but all the Cortland players go towards the front of the net, leaving Knockbauer just really by himself. He's able to make a nice move as that shot's blocked. That'll come out of the zone. He makes a nice move there on Modica, who can get the paddle down and make that save on the back door. Great stop from Modica, but a nice effort from Knockbauer to even generate that scoring chance.
Beacons won the ensuing face-off, but Pat Harrington had his shot knocked away. Now it's Roviak who reads the pass and keeps the puck in the zone. Nice job by the freshman out of Livonia, Michigan, who had a goal and an assist yesterday, including his first collegiate goal, as this pass is deflected out, and the Beacons will collect in the neutral zone.
And he's one of the freshmen that have really stood out, as we're going to get an icing here, but between Nitkin, Koviak, Bryant, I mean, those 3 freshmen have been consistent all year. Stevie Bryant, another one. Some really good depth. We were talking a little bit off air just on the depth this UMass Boston team has. I mean, a lot of the guys that aren't in the lineup tonight would probably be starters, not just for this Cortland team, but for a lot of Division III teams. Coach Lyle blessed with a lot of depth. There's a shot and a save there, and really strong recruiting effort from the Beacons year after year.
Yeah, you just saw Joe Cardarelli. He's no stranger to strong recruiting efforts. He was a big part on that SUNY Oswego staff back in the late aughts, 2007, 2008, was the recruiting coordinator for SUNY Oswego right before they won the national championship. Another face-off win for Cortland in the offensive zone. Redler through the legs, able to find Chukrin with two options, one ahead, one behind, and Bross is not able to hold on as Chukrin lost it amongst his skates, and the Beacons are going to have to take the face-off just outside the zone.
Yeah, just a tough play there if you're the captain, Gabe Chukrin. You're a little bit behind your forwards. You're trying to up the puck to them, but didn't really have a passing option on either. Almost better off dumping that in when you don't have. He tried to skate it up there. Takes it offsides, though. Not a big deal.
Stevie Bryant wins the faceoff. Albano is shot from outside the blue line. Rebound picked up by Stevie Bryant. Another one of those Beacons players from the West Coast. He and Daniel Nakbar, good friends. A big reason why Bryant is here. Albano up top has the shot deflected off of Bryant. Puck's loose, and it bounces around, and it's picked up by Cortland. Dragging it the other way is Dorian Overland, who has one of the best names in this entire tournament. Overland still fighting for it. Puck is knocked away, and it'll stay in the zone for a moment before Jack Riley's able to collect it and send it out. Chukrin ahead, bounces off the stick of Skinner, and now tipped forward as the Beacons get a chance here. Jack Riley backhand shot, and Medica able to hold on with 14:09 to play in this first period.
Nice little play by Riley. Would love to see them get him going. He had a great freshman year. You saw their partial breakaway there. Didn't really have it on the forehand. Was able to get it over to his backhand and force Modica to make a nice little stop there. 14:09 to play in the first. Still 0-0.
Cortland wins the faceoff. A chance to get out of the zone here. They'll take their time. And it's Nico Gonzalez able to ping it around. Alonzi towards the far side. Stefano Alonzi out of Vaughan, Ontario. So there's a shot from distance that McBurney's able to push the rebound over for Gallagher, who goes right through two players. A very dangerous play there from Garrett Gallagher. So Dakota Keene absorbs a bit of a hit. Trying to track this down is Derek Caruso, making his fourth appearance, third in a row for UMass Boston.
Gallagher probably the only player that can make a play like that without hearing it from Coach Blyle. That's a very confident play. Put it in a positive spin.
Keene tries to flip one on net. It's tipped wide. The Beacons, their biggest issue yesterday against Tufts was some poor turnovers in their own end in the neutral zone, giving Tufts some chances they probably didn't deserve. The Beacons have it with McGregor up top for Carter through traffic tip wide. Medica is on his back, and the Beacons are going to be whistled for a penalty. It's a delayed penalty right now as Gonzalez will just chip it out. Medica appears to be okay. He has his head down but is up in his crease, and we'll see who's going to be called for making some contact with the 5'6" goaltender.
Yeah, one of those traffic in front, and Caruso's going to sit. I think this is one of those plays where you just kind of, you're pushed into the crease, you don't really have anywhere to go, and if you don't have good balance, you fall on top of the goaltender, you're going to get flagged, whether it's your fault or not. In this case, referees thought they saw enough for goaltender interference. Caruso will sit for 2.
Saw the numbers there. Cortland operating at just about 18+% on the power play. The Beacons #1 in all of Division III at 94.5%. DeMatteo across for his defensive partner. Back up for DeMatteo, who's getting a lot of pressure there from Stevie Bryant. Bryant trying to knock the puck out of the zone. Great job by DeMatteo to keep it alive. Trying to get it over for Beck, and finally Bryant flips it all the way in, where Medica will slow it down.
Those are those one-on-one battles coaches talk about. It's not just in the corners. You saw there at the blue line, Bryant able to attack the puck carrier, really disrupt that entire play. Didn't get it out on the first try, kept attacking second, and then finally on the third time was able to clear it down, and now Beacons clear it again. That little individual one-on-one battle there that Bryant was able to win probably cost this Cortland team maybe 20, 30 seconds of power play
able
time.
to tip it over for Robiak, a quick shot, and Medica will hold on. So we're 52 seconds in, and the only shot has come from UMass Boston.
And exactly, that was going to be as finishing that point there. That one-on-one battle on the blue line has generated 2 clears and now an in-zone face-off for the Beacons. And you see here just a little bit of contact there on the replay, turnover and shot on goal. So a Beacons penalty kill, that's the type of stuff you'll see when they're flying high. That's the type of stuff you'll see from this penalty kill all night. Again, and disrupting on the forecheck, disrupting these breakouts, another strong point for this penalty kill.
And remember, no Chris Peters for the second straight game. The Beacons hope to have him back at some point next weekend. No Tyler Sifferlin was banged up yesterday, but means that Derek Caruso's in the lineup, and he's always one of their best penalty killers. Right now it's Bross and Roviak, the two forwards. Up top, controlled there by a Cortland player who sends it wide. That was Alonzi from the far side. Now it's Nico Gonzalez. A couple fourth liners out here on the power play. The Beacons looking to go the other way. 3-on-3. Bross with Roviak heading towards the net. Sends a shot, and Roviak just a little bit late getting there as he tried to tip it past Medica. Down to 22 seconds left on the man advantage. Shots 2-1 in favor of UMass Boston on this first power play. Yesterday it was Cortland 7 for 7 on the PK. UMass Boston 4 for 4 as Elkstem goes 1v4. McBurney will come out of his net to play it. Down to 6 on the man advantage as Cortland gets some reinforcements right on, and sending a quick shot that's patted away was Perichak. That was a good look off the bench for the top line center. So the penalty is over, but they've just put an errant penalty back up as we're almost midway through this first period, still scoreless. Remember, the Beacons have not lost this season when scoring first, 11-0. SUNY Cortland 4-0, so that first goal looms large. 2v2 chance, Storachan sends a shot deflected and it kicked away by McBurney off the tip. That was a very difficult save.
Unreal stop from McBurney. A shot and a save there from Modica. Some more physicality in front. But I'll tell you what, we got to get that on replay, folks. Let's take another look at that. I mean, this puck is redirected with just really no chance of me. This should have gone in without question. I mean, it's deflected there on the way through. That's going blocker side high, and somehow McBurney's able to kick out that far pad. I don't know if that angle does that save justice. Behind the net would have given us a really good look. That's, folks, that's full momentum going blocker side and able to readjust, stay balanced, keep that far leg and kick that puck out. That's a very difficult stop there from McBurney. I thought that was in for sure.
Yeah, that puck deflected off of Ethan Nicken, and really nothing McBurney could have done about it except just threw out the leg and somehow able to get enough on it as Sanapass lets Harrington come on, get to the puck. Beacons keep that top line out there for the offensive zone draw. It's collected by Nakbar, who had 2 assists yesterday, the Beacons' second leading scorer. Gets some help from Nicken, who's averaging about a goal per game since earning a spot in the lineup about a month ago. Nicken went up high, no call. That's fortunate for the Beacons as they almost went to the PK for a second time in about 3 minutes. Collected by Cortland in their own zone, handling it is Shane Bailu. Bailu trying to get it over for Lester. 3 Beacons converge on the puck. It's still that top line. They've been out there for a while. Nakbar behind the net trying to find an option from the far side now. Nakbar being badgered by a pair of Red Dragons. That's an odd saying. Don't imagine Red Dragons do a lot of badgering. It's behind the net, and handling it here are the Red Dragons with a chance to get it out of the zone.
You're confusing Cortland for Wisconsin there, Seth.
Or Babson in that case, as it's Bross from the circle looking for an option. Tries to find Albano. Instead, he finds the stick of a Cortland player, but it'll stay in as Albano gets there in time. Second line of Redler, Roviak, and Bross, but the Beacons turn it over again, and Elkstem will get it just far enough to get it out of the zone. Working with it now is Overland. Overland, the freshman out of Kingston, Ontario. One of 8 freshmen on this roster. Puck is loose. It's Roviak picking it up. Roviak 1v4 and almost turned something into nothing. Or nothing into something there. As the puck will go all the way down for Redler. Redler for Bross. This group scored the first goal yesterday. Bross in front, backhand shot. And the second effort from Roviak goes off the shoulder of Medica. Albano and the Beacons still there, backside, and it hits the side of the netting. Roviak looking for his second goal in as many days. Roviak still with it, he sends it blocker side high, just missing the goal. Albano and the Beacons are peppering Medica here, and that's a shot that's deflected up into the netting by Overland, and the Beacons just missing a couple times from that first goal.
Well, just, again, another great shift from the Beacons there, continuing to attack. Let's take a look at this instant replay here. You see a great escape move there from Bross. Just fakes, goes back towards the front of the net. That's Modica's another great stop there. That's a one-timer in front off a rebound. He's able to get that shoulder up, make that stop. He had another save soon thereafter, keeping his team in this, but I think UMass is starting to figure out that perhaps a little bit better skating so far than this Cortland team, and some more pressure here forthcoming.
Gallagher sends it down low, and the pass shot from Skinner goes wide. Now the rebound's loose in front, and Medica's holding on for dear life with Stevie Bryant just trying to poke that one through. This is 3 consecutive shifts where UMass Boston's not only pinned Cortland in their zone, they've created some really good chances.
Yeah, well, the best thing UMass can do is not deviate whatsoever. Just because you haven't scored yet doesn't mean you need to change anything. You've got Cortland. The only thing that's stopping them from being up 1-0 right now is Modica. Continuing to get shots towards the net. The best thing you can do is continue to pressure this team, not try to get too creative. Keep throwing pucks at net, and you'll be able to find one here soon.
Beacons will stick with this third line of Skinner, Riley, and Bryant, and it's kept in by Gallagher. Across for Carter will send a shot just a little bit wide, looking for the deflection. No one in front that time. Beacons with a lot of zone time right now. 8 minutes to go in the period. The Beacons have been at their best over the last 3 minutes as Gallagher's pass is deflected up. And we'll see if they send that top unit. No, he's going to cycle all 4 lines. The 4th line will get their chance. McGregor, Caruso, and Keene. This is a pretty veteran group out there for UMass Boston on the 4th line.
Yeah, an interesting coaching decision there to go with the 4th. Not to say these guys can't score, but to be in this position now with another in-zone draw here, I was expecting, I think like you said, that perhaps skip the 4th, go with that 1st line, but likes maybe something he sees in the matchup with this 4th line.
Regnard has shot through traffic, but Medica was not blocked that time. Dakota Keene tangled up with a Cortland player. One other thing to note, SUNY Cortland's only dressing 5 defensemen today, so those defensemen might get a little bit tired as this game goes along. Back-to-back games for the first time in over a month, and you're coming off that break. The legs are never quite what they were beforehand as Cortland wins this draw, but can they get it out of the zone? Looks like the Beacons will get there first, and Harrington has a ton of time. To the near side for Regnard's shot, and it's knocked down by Keene in front. We're going to get a penalty against SUNY Cortland, but it's the delayed penalty, and the Beacons will send McBurney off. Can they get the 6th man on first? Doesn't look like it. Oh, the Beacons with enough to keep it alive, and on comes Sanapass, but first the tip, and we're going to get a slashing call on the Cortland Red Dragons as a Beacon lost his stick right in front of the net.
And this penalty is drawn up just based on offensive pressure. This isn't just an individual effort here, but just a recurring effort from shift after shift here. Beacons continuing to pressure the front of the net. Modica anywhere from 6, 7, maybe 8 shots on goal here in just the last 2 minutes alone, and now going to be facing, the Cortland team will be facing a 5-on-4 opportunity. UMass Boston with their first power play of the day.
Get the number on that player as the Beacons send the top unit out there. The Beacons 0 for 2 on the power play yesterday. It's the defenseman Jacob Gato, so they only have 4 defensemen available for this penalty kill. Albano up top looking for options, has them to the left and right. Bross faking the shot, now we'll send it down low. Redler couldn't handle the pass. 20 seconds gone by. Albano tees up a shot just wide and a little bit high on the left side as he was right in the low slot with a great look with traffic in front.
Not sure you need a slap shot there. You're that close in the slot. It's just a one-timer or even catch and release. Slap shot missed it high and wide.
Bross for Chuckrin, right back for Bross, all the way across for Albano. Albano sends it right through the goal mouth, couldn't quite find any contact in front. Bross for Redler. Redler across for Albano, and he misses for a 3rd time. Bross thought about it, not really his area of expertise up top, and Chuckrin does a nice job to keep it alive. Almost a minute gone by, tipped, and Storjahan dives, and it'll be sent down the left of the ice. A huge clearance for Cortland, their first time in about 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, Albano's got to get those on net. I mean, he's their top defensive scorer. I'm not surprised they're trying to feed it to him on this power play, but just a couple great plays there from UMass Boston, and Albano missing the front of the net.
Beacons only make one change. It's Skinner in for Nakbar. Already a minute and 10 seconds gone on the power play. Skinner and Redler play catch. Now back up top for Chuckrin. Chuckrin thinking about the shot, sends it through just a little bit wide of the tip of Bross. 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. This is the first for UMass Boston. Albano thinks about it, shoots and scores! Might have been a tip from Bross, but either way, the Beacons lead 1-0 with 5:51 to go in the first period.
I'm pretty confident Albano doesn't have a mic in his headset, similar like a quarterback. Just get away from the slap shot. He's got such a great snapper. He needs to use it more often. You see there, 1 for 1 on the snapper. Just a great look here, as we'll show you on the replay. This puck's going to come. He's going to walk the line a little bit and then just snap one right there. And through a screen, Modica was a little bit late getting to the spot. And just a nice little seeing eye shot there from Albano to give the UMass Boston Beacons a 1-0 lead. But as soon as he got away from that slap shot, a nice adjustment there by 5.
Nick Albano, the sophomore's 4th goal in this season, his 12th career goal. He's got 49 points now in 41 career games. Not too bad for the sophomore defenseman out of Beverly. Power play goal for the Beacons. Their first in a little bit. So they've been pretty ice cold on the power play their last 2. Got a stoppage, and we're going to get an elbow call, and I think that's going against the Beacons, as just like that, you love talking about the shift after, but shift after turns into a power play chance. Derek Caruso's now going to the box for a 2nd time. Yesterday was Redler with 3 penalties. Caruso, not a guy who can afford to make mistakes with that position in the lineup, always at risk.
Yeah, that's just a momentum killer. You know, I know he's trying to forecheck, and be hard on, show this coaching staff he's got what it takes to continue to play in this lineup. But 2 penalties here already in the first period and just took away all that momentum your team had built up.
Beacon's attempted clearance is knocked down. SUNY Cortland didn't have a ton of zone time their first power play, 0 for 1. That one's tipped up by Gallagher into the netting, and we'll get a stoppage just 13 seconds in. Derek Caruso is whistled for his second penalty of the game already. UMass Boston, remember, 94.5%. They're now 70 of 74 on the penalty kill this season. Got to give a ton of credit to Corey Schneider. Not that the PK was bad under Sean Walsh, but it has taken a huge step forward under second-year assistant coach Corey Schneider, the former Buckeye.
It's a great point, Seth, absolutely.
McBurney with the save as he was able to easily see that shot in the whole way from Mike Crowley. Harrington trying to tip it over for Regnar. Can he get it out? Yes, that'll go the length of the ice all the way in on Medica, and the Beacons will give chase with Bryant pressuring the puck and almost able to force a turnover as he gets help from Riley. Bring it through is Crowley, the assistant captain. Team best 10 assists on the year. Beacons can't get it out. DiMatteo has options all the way to the top of the circle. Still with it. DiMatteo, shot that gets knocked down. Long time to clear that one, and Riley will send it down.
Beacons were fortunate there. They were caught a little bit pinned and towards the front of their net. But fortunately, Jack Riley with a nice play there blocked a shot and cleared that puck down to get a change.
Both teams will make changes as UMass Boston sends out Keene and McGregor. McBurney will slow it down for Gabe Chuckern, had an assist on that goal, and Chuckern sends it down. He's had a couple of clearances thus far on the PK.
Again, keeping it simple for this penalty kill unit. As soon as they get a chance, firing that puck 200 feet. Just got to watch Cortland here. Their breakouts seem to change a little bit. They keep a guy pinned or anchored on the far blue looking for that home run pass. Defense need to be careful.
Up top, it's Lester. Lester gives it off and gets it right back from Alonzi. Shot tipped in, and when it's 1-1, another power play goal. The first 2 goals both on the power play, and just about a minute and 40-second difference between them as Cortland has beaten the Beacons, and at least the first man through the line is Lester.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look if that was redirected. I'm not sure. It looked like McBurney saw it late. Let's go to the replay here and see if we can determine. It's going to be a little bit tough just where that shot came from. Comes off the half wall. This puck will go across the blue line here, and then Lester's going to walk a little bit. There's the exchange, and then let's see. Yeah, tough to tell from that angle if it was redirected. We'll have to wait for the announcement here. But regardless, it's a 1-1 hockey game. Still 3:49 left in this first period, but that is a great response from the Red Dragons to tie this thing up.
They're going to give Oliver Lester the goal, at least on the loudspeaker. That would be his first collegiate goal for the freshman out of Calgary, Alberta. Stefano Alonzi, who handed it off to him at the blue line, should pick up his 3rd assist, the captain. Still not sure if that one was tipped, and we'll hear more during the intermission. 1-1 now. We're all even with 3:37 to go in the first period. So the Beacons, who are the better scoring team, have to be happy that they got that first goal. There's a huge hit from Garrett Gallagher right at the blue line, but Cortland able to collect the puck, and they'll bring it into the zone. Martin LaValle sends it just wide, and now it's Storjahan, a tough shot, and McBurney able to hang on to the rebound with 3:18. It'll be an offensive zone draw for SUNY Cortland.
Yeah, nice hit from Gallagher, and that's what you need. You know, it's unfortunate. You build a lot of momentum, you score a goal, you take a penalty, you give it right back, and coaches really, you need a response. You saw Cortland respond and score on the power play. What will UMass do here? Still plenty of time in this period here. I'm curious to see if they take some of this momentum back.
Gonzalez in front for Alonzi, who whiffs. Now a backhand feed is denied by a Beacons defender. That was Carter, who lost his stick, but was able to get in the way of the shot from Tierney. Great effort from this 4th line by Cortland to get something going. 2 good looks against the Beacons' 2nd line. Now it's Robiak, has Redler in front, sends it there, but a defenseman gets in the way of that pass. A great job of getting back in transition. Alonzi absorbs a bit of a hip check from Harrington, able to stay with it. Alonzi and Tierney behind the net. 3 Beacons join them, and Bross comes away with the loose puck. Zach Bross scored the first Beacons goal yesterday. It's batted back towards Harrington, who will chip it in, and he'll head to the bench. Oliver Lester, the freshman defenseman, one of 5 defensemen suiting up today for SUNY Cortland, right now is being credited with the game-tying goal. Gabe Chuckern with time, taking a bit too much time there. A pair of Cortland players surround him, but UMass Boston comes away with the puck. It's Albano with it, who scored the Beacons goal. A pair of goals by Blue Liners. Behind the net, LaValle able to scoop it around for Michael Shorey. Knocked down by Chuckrin, but it's brought right back past him, and it's Shorey with a move to the far circle, looking for options, patted away there by McBurney, and then he has to make the save on the far side. Nice work by McBurney to slow down the chance.
Not only that, but Carter as well, or Albano rather, to keep that angle, not allow any pucks towards the front of the net. And still a minute. Very curious. UMass Boston, one of the things we'll have to get into in the post, or in the intermission rather, is we haven't seen them play. There's a little bit of lack of aggression. A couple hits that have resulted in penalties. Other than the one hit from Gallagher, maybe other than that in the first shift, just hasn't really been any of those massive hits we're used to seeing.
Physicality was the name of the game yesterday against Tufts, something they really wanted to do. Haven't been nearly as physical today against this slightly larger SUNY Cortland team. They have a couple players who stand at 6'4", 6'5", but certainly not imposing. Behind the net, it's Skinner. Handing it off for Harrington, has a chance to get in front, but a nice job by the small goaltender Medica to tap that one away with the stick. Still with it is Skinner, under a minute to go, sends it behind the net. Stevie Bryant comes over, bouncing puck. Elkstem can't quite get there, but he's able to tap it past Gallagher and get it as far as the Beacons blue line. Bouncing puck, Harrington will just send it right back out across the red line. Plenty of time for DiMatteo. DiMatteo has it go off the skate of a Cortland player behind the net for Harrington with 35. 1-1. Do we have another goal in this first period? Are we going to be knotted at ones heading into the intermission? Behind the net, bouncing puck. It's Harrington trying to feed Sanipass. Top line out there for one last time. Sanipass's clearance is sent right to the stick of a Cortland player. Will float it in on McBurney with 18. Harrington needs to find an outlet. Finds him in Nakbar. Nakbar around one player. Nakbar at the red line. Finds Nickett. He heads to the net. Nickett with the player coming in behind him. Able to get the pass off with 7. Puck is loose in the circle. Storjahan can't find it. Nickett to his knees. Chance for Nakbar with 1, but he doesn't know the time, and he skates it out. So after 20 minutes, UMass Boston gets a power play goal. SUNY Cortland immediately responds with one of their own. We're knotted at 1, and again, the matchup favors UMass Boston on paper, but Cortland doing what they need to do. They're even after one period, and they've been able to take some of the Beacons' blows.
Yeah, pretty solid first period there, I think, by both teams. We saw UMass Boston come out rather quickly there, score, and then, like you said, Cortland scoring there quickly after. Pretty even first period, but again, I think the one area that I'd like to see improve is the physicality. The physical aspect is such an important part to this Beacons, especially offensive. Just the team in general usually gets the bench going, gets the momentum going. Didn't really see too much of that in the first period. Like to see that change a little bit for the second.
Beacons dominated for about 3 or 4 minutes. From about the 10-minute mark to the 6-minute mark. Derek Caruso goes off for the second time. Cortland makes them pay, and the last 5 were a lot more even than the previous 5 minutes. We'll take a break right now and play you one of our Beacon spotlights for today's game. John Bono's not in the lineup today, dealt with a serious shoulder injury right before break. It's almost 100%, didn't make the lineup this weekend, might be back next weekend. But we talked to John this week about what it was like being a Southern hockey player growing up, and he gives us some interesting insight, including what it was like to play some Northern teams and kind of lose from some big losses.
I'd say I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. My dad used to get tickets for the Atlanta Thrashers through his work, and one night my mom couldn't go, so he took me, and I just fell in love with it, and I started skating a couple months later. I would say the Thrashers definitely helped kind of spark that interest with a lot of my friends growing up, and then as we got older and we started getting more competitive and more serious about it, and then we had a former professional, Jan Kaminsky, moved down, and he kind of helped build ice hockey in Georgia. So I grew up skating with him and his son and a lot of my close friends, and that's how we kind of started to kind of grow the game a little bit. Definitely losing a lot of hockey games and seeing what hockey was actually played like when we'd come up to Detroit, Massachusetts, and Chicago and all those big time cities. But it was definitely a lot smaller culture. You definitely knew everybody growing up, which I think helped us a lot. But we'd get our dosage of what hockey actually looked like when we come up for a weekend and lose 14-15 nothing. But it taught us a lot about you know, kind of those off the ice characteristics of hockey. Nobody really knew, you know, anything about it, especially, you know, at my school. We had a high school hockey team, but, you know, my D partner couldn't necessarily skate backwards, to say the least. But no, I definitely just wanted to continue to stick with it just because it was so unique, and I had a blast doing it. So I never really wanted to get into football or anything like that and kind of blend in with everybody, and I just kind of wanted to be unique, I guess. Oh, absolutely. I think everybody from my town and surrounding towns that are hockey players, I think you definitely have a little bit of pride knowing that you made it out of a very small town and made it to where you are now. I think that's definitely just a great experience for somebody to endure.
(1-1) between UMass Boston and visiting SUNY Cortland in the 54th annual Codfish Bowl championship game. My name is Seth Dorensky, joined by Matt Meisenbacher. Matt, let's take a look at the scoring summary, and realistically it was very quiet in the first 10 minutes, and all of a sudden the power play allowed both teams to get onto the scoreboard just about 2 minutes and 2 seconds apart, and it was two defensemen who scored the two goals.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Albano changed from his slapper to his snapper, ended up in the back of the net. Great shot by him. Good to see him on the board. But Lester with an eerily similar play. So far, still credited with that goal. Doesn't look like it'll be changed unless we hear otherwise. It's going to be his first of the year, posting in a 1-1 hockey game. And again, a pretty even first period there. I think both teams got their footing underneath, and should be a pretty good. And we knew this, right? We knew both goaltenders very strong numbers-wise. Modica, let's not forget. You know, it goes. Should have been mentioned earlier. Some of those key saves there. I mean, he had, I would say, 3 or 4 big ones to keep his team. He gives one of those up, and kind of deflating. And they built some momentum off of those saves, came down, scored on the power play, and I think that's why we're still tied 1-1.
We're going to take a look at the stats. They're pretty similar, in part because of the fact that Cortland has 2 power plays and the Beacons only have 1. UMass Boston slightly leading in shots, down by 1 in faceoffs, and that's one of the interesting things with this lineup. Zach Bross moving from the wing to the center spot. Bross is 1 of 5, and the rest of the Beacons are all over 500, including a really strong performance from Daniel Nakbar, 5 of 6 after going 18 of 23 yesterday. Faceoffs could be huge, especially in a low-scoring game, a game that's driven by goalies. Both teams doing well on the power play. Be interested to see how the Beacons do that, because a couple times the Beacons didn't send that top unit out on offensive zone draws, and that's really where Nakbar helps you the most.
Yeah, and a couple times Caruso with the 2 penalties. I think that's going to be addressed in the period. Cortland is showing the power play looks pretty good, and they had a couple opportunities there where didn't get a shot on goal, but had a little bit of a scoring opportunity there. Obviously, the one they converted on, so that's going to be a key as well, is not allowing this Cortland team to build momentum off of that power play.
Right now, we're going to take another video break. We're going to hear from the Beacons lacrosse team, who's made some huge strides up in the athletic performance room with Jeff Ebbs. We'll be back with scores from around the conference, around the rest of Beaconville, and most importantly, the highlights of that first period as UMass Boston and SUNY Cortland are tied at 1.
This year, Coach and I and Murph, as captains, we really look to build a culture first. We look to make a culture change, kind of in the way that we recruit, kind of in the way that we bring guys in. It's really translated out here into the weight room. Guys feel comfortable pushing each other. And it's just a really positive environment for kids to really get after it.
Well, specifically, like mostly when I played in high school, we didn't really have to lift. Like lacrosse wasn't a sport that lifted. So coming here and then lifting for lacrosse specifically was a lot different. There's a lot of different movements in some workouts that I've never really seen before. That was a big difference.
For example, Jeff and I, we've talked a lot. And lacrosse is a different sport. For example, in ice hockey, there's a lot of different movements, whether it be kind of a lateral movement versus running on the field. I thought Jeff's done a really great job kind of singling us out in the movements that we need to work on. And I think that he's created a program that's perfect for us and what we need to do on the field.
I've seen a lot of like my personal records that I had before in the past with weightlifting get broken here. So obviously what Jeff is showing us is proving to work in the weight room, and I'm sure it's going to help just as much as the field. I just feel like this is the best training that we've gotten, especially for me personally for lacrosse.
Yeah, having the upperclassmen who've been around with Jeff has been a great asset for us. Jeff's obviously a wonderful coach. He guides us in the right direction, but he can't look at all the guys at once. So having a big group of upperclassmen who know what they're doing and are able to push and guide kids in a safe way has really been a huge push, and that's why we're kind of putting the games that we are in right now.
It helps a lot. I mean, Jeff's only one guy, and, Paige is only one person as well, and there's a lot of us here. There's about 40 of us here, so they're kind of obviously busy. They can't be helping everyone at the same time, so it helps a lot when the older guys know exactly what they're doing and how to explain it, and then they give that information to us, and then we can just reciprocate it to everyone else who needs help.
Yeah, so mobility, once we get into the grind of the season, we practice, we start in January, so it's obviously cold. It's important to keep our muscles loose and limber. And it's also important for us to be able to have those mobility days where we just focus on kind of getting our bodies right for the long season. In lacrosse, we play 3 games a week, kind of unaccustomed to a lot of other sports. So it's important for us to be able to stay healthy, keep all the muscles kind of in shape, and keep us on the field.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is really just my teammates. Like, my boys, it's hard to really complain and single yourself out when we're all going through the same stuff. Like, we're all here right before class. We have class at 11. We have classes a little later. We're all doing the same thing. So to kind of be a part of a group that knows exactly what you're going through, and if you feel like it's a little too much, you can talk to them, and you can talk to Jeff or Coach. It helps a lot. And I think that's a big part of motivation. And just a lot of the actual season, the best part I think is the build up to it, because when you see the success on the field and you look back and you see all the work you did towards it, it makes it even better.
Murph and I, we live together, so we kind of bring the work home a little bit. So we talk a lot about how to make it fun for the guys and also how to push them. Again, kind of the culture aspect of this year has been much different, and that's kind of why we've succeeded. We're able to push these guys, kind of make it fun, and they kind of live off that. So, I mean, we really created a great group here, and we're kind of excited, as Murph and I talk about kind of our legacy, to leave our group what we've done so far, and kind of let them have the reins a little bit. So we're pretty excited.
(1-1) after 20 minutes. Let's take a look around the rest of Beaconville. It's been a very successful day thus far. The women's basketball team pulling off a monumental upset, a 75-72 win over UMass Dartmouth, the team that had won 19 straight LEC regular season games. An upset because the Beacons suffered back-to-back 30-point losses, a little bit banged up, a key injury, and yet UMass Boston went down to UMass Dartmouth, earned a victory as Jelani Jackson hit a game-winning 3 with 2.2 seconds left. The men's basketball team in the second half looking for their first win of 2019 as well. Women's hockey, they're still off for about another 6 days. They travel to St. Anselm, part of a 6-game road trip to start 2019. And track and field opens up their 2019 next Saturday at Brandeis. Matt, let's take a look around the rest of the conference right now. A couple other teams in championship games later on today. And we were talking off air. It's kind of huge imperative this year with Yente Division III tournament being solely based off the numbers, the pairwise, something that's been in Division I for quite a while. For some of these NEHC teams to win these games against good teams outside the conference, Norwich versus Endicott certainly stands out because you need your conference opponents to play well, so it helps your strength of schedule, and you want your conference to play really well outside of conference, and then beat up on each other in conference because that's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, it's a weird. That's one of the big differences between professional sports and collegiate sports. It's not just this Division III hockey. It's Division I hockey. It's Division I football. Division I basketball, baseball, whatever you want to look at. Because what you're doing is you want to beat up on your own conference as much as possible. But when they're playing a strong team that maybe is out of conference, you want your conference companion to win. It makes yourself look better. It makes you look like you play in a really a tough conference, and that's where things like at-large bids or rankings, strength of schedule, all that stuff comes into effect. And so you're exactly right. Norwich playing at Endicott today, and one of those weird moments where you're rooting for the Cadets.
Yeah, and very, very infrequently. But it hurt the NEHC as a whole last year. UMass Boston, the Codfish Bowl last year, lost to Salve. Salve obviously made it to the national championship. That would have been a big win. Hobart had some bad losses. Norwich had some bad losses. The NEHC just didn't have the profile of a 2-bid league, and that was the expectation with the addition of Hobart to UMass Boston, Babson, and Norwich. Everyone thought it would be a 2-bid league. Said it was the CCC getting 3 teams in. Let's take a look ahead for UMass Boston before we get to the highlights. Beacon's right back into conference play. 4 straight road games to start conference play in 2019 at NEC. That's never an easy one. And then at 2 games that should be a little bit easier, but you never know with the NEHC being the way it is at Southern Maine and Castleton. UMass Boston at 8-0. Have a little breathing room, up by 3 points, maybe 4 points over Babson going into second semester. But those 3 games are huge, knowing the Beacons have to travel to Kreitzberg and travel up to the cooler at Hobart second semester, along with that 2-game home and home with Babson to end the regular season.
Road trips are a lot of fun. It's where you usually have a lot of the memories. I just look across, I see some of the alumni here where a lot of those memories are made on the road. But it's very difficult. It takes you out of your – one of the reasons I think that one of the things the Beacons have done great all year is win at home. Their home record, I believe, 8-0.
8-0.
And so they'll be tested. I think that's the way it should be. You should have a knack for winning at your own rink and sleeping in your own bed, eating your own food. A little bit more difficult to do that on the road. You virtually can't. You're in a hotel. You're on a bus a lot, and so it'll be a challenge for this Beacons team that really hasn't had too many road games so far yet this season.
Yeah, the Beacons, not only 8-0 at home, they've won every game by multiple goals. That's how good they've been here at home this season. Let's take a look right now at the highlights from the first period. We've got a decent amount for you after a very entertaining first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll take a look here. UMB just getting things off with a shot on goal here. Just a little bit over 1 minute into this period, that crossing pass. And that was one we talked about. Would love to see if Bross got to get that one towards the net on his own. Forcing a shot on the backhand there was a difficult task. And this is that play, just a nice effort by Cortland. Again, early on in that period there, 2 great stops from McBurney. And UMB really poured it on. I think this was the moment where they really started to stack their lines a little bit. Coach Blau ran all 4 for the majority of that period. You see multiple great stops from Modica. Maybe his best save right there on that backdoor play, was able to get the paddle on it. But again, continue to pour it on. You see the time change there, 16 minutes. And now down to 12 minutes. This was all Beacons here in this period. And this is where Modica really held his team in. This could have easily been 1-2, maybe even 3-0. That was McBurney's best save of the period. Still not really sure how he was able to stop that one. Pure athleticism. There's Bross on the escape move we talked about. That was that one-timer. Modica able to get that shoulder up on the one-timer. And then here's the goal. And it's Albano just walks through the high slot, kind of by the blue line there, and just sends a little snapshot right through. Trying to find a spot where maybe the goaltender can't get a good read on it. That was on the power play. That gave the Beacons a 1-0 lead, but then less than a minute 30 later, and you're going to see Cortland, a very similar play here. Again, defense walks that blue line, comes in, and a shot comes through. Now, again, still looking to see if that was tipped. Right now, Lester's goal, that made it 1-1. And that's where things stand going into the second period. And one of the big things on both of those goals, Matt, is that on the Albano goal, Zach Bross definitely made it difficult for Modica to see. Just 5'6". I don't know if he saw it at all. On the goal by Lester, again, McBurney had a player right going across his goal mouth. I'm not sure if he saw that goal. So both teams have done a nice job getting some traffic in front of the goal mouth. 27 seconds before the start of the second period. You talked about needing to see more physicality. One thing to note, this is the period that Cortland's done the best at. -7 in the first, -5 in the third. They're +1 in the second. Do you see their speed maybe causing some other teams some problems? With the period of the long change, sometimes the tired legs can be a problem. Well, for whatever reason, Cortland's been best in that period. Why do you think that might be? Well, I think teams like this, you come into, it's no secret, UMB, number 8th ranked team in the nation. So teams really try to shorten. If you come in, you don't feel like maybe you match up well on paper, you try to shorten the hockey game. You try to break it down into 3 20-minute periods. And so far, Cortland done a nice job after one. I'm sure trying to gain a little bit more confidence here starting the second period. Already the third meeting for Cortland with the top 10 team this year. Losses to 2 conference foes, SUNY Oswego and SUNY Geneseo, both ranked to the top 6. Both of those games, though, were close. Nickens flipping it in front all the way wide for Gallagher, just trying to keep the puck alive, and then Gallagher feeds it back to the point, but wide of his longtime teammate, Gabe Chukrin. Yeah, I'm not sure that's what Nitkin wanted to do there. He had Gallagher all alone on his off wing, and I think was trying to float a pass towards that back door, but just really didn't put it into a spot where Gallagher could get to it. Beacons floated it down, but Nitkin was the first one there. Thought it was going to be an icing. Now Nitkin behind the net getting help from Sanipass. This top line has created some chances, but hasn't been quite as effective as they have been the last couple of games. Nakbar looking for help. Leaves it off for Chukrin, who pinches in near circle. Sends a high shot deflected by Nitkin. Hard off the boards, and it's picked up by Cortland, although Scory slightly overskated it. Brought into the zone by LaValle. LaValle has it knocked down off the stick of Harrington. Long stretch pass just behind Robiak, and this one will be an ice. I don't mind that. just another missed pass. I mind that. That's the second missed pass there by the Beacons so far this period. But those stretch passes, I don't mind mixing those in on the breakout every once in a while. It keeps the forecheck honest. When you run the same thing time and time again, it gets a little bit predictable. And so I don't mind trying to stretch pass every now and then just to keep those opposing D honest and having to check that anchor or that blue line steady.
Nakbar versus Bailu, first line center for the Beacons versus third for Cortland, and Bailu was not ready for that face-off at all as he was upset, but it comes all the way through for Gatos, and Gatos has his shot knocked down by the imposing figure of Sanipass.
He actually had a case there. You're supposed to drop your stick. Neither player had dropped their stick, and the puck was dropped, so I think he actually had a case.
Elkstem has his shot denied by Harrington, a pair of shot blocks for the Beacons, and now Harrington looks to break out. Harrington, the lone freshman defenseman on the Beacons, and one of just two underclassmen along the Beacons' blue line. Bringing it the other way is Overland, who hands off for Bailu. Bailu from the near circle. Quick shot knocked down by McBurney, and Albano and Bailu get tangled up. Hard hit by Bailu into the boards as he was struggling to keep his balance. Beacons go the other way. Albano from the circle shot floats high as Albano couldn't quite get enough on that look.
Yeah, another shot, missed high there. Not something we've seen. Albano usually a very accurate. We know his point total is usually very accurate the way he shoots the puck today. Maybe a new curve or something, just shooting a little bit high. Saw some frustration there from Coach Blyle and Coach Schneider.
Albano sitting on 49 points, had 2 goals and an assist in last year's Codfish Bowl tournament. Saw the Beacons lose to Salve Regina for the second consecutive year in the title game. UMass Boston looking for their first Codfish Bowl title since 2014. And 6th overall. That would be second behind Boston State, the former hosts of the Codfish Bowl tournament before Boston State College closed and UMass Boston took over as hosts in the early 80s. Puck bouncing around, but first we're going to get a stoppage and a high stick, and the face-off will head back into the SUNY Cortland zone.
Yeah, that's something there the coaching staff is going to want to address there. And clearly, on a positive side, Albano able to find the puck tonight. It's finding them. I mean, all assets, whether it be at the blue line or in the zone, it's finding them. But you missed the net a couple times. You're starting to wonder, maybe change that twig and go with a little bit less of a curve, try to get some of those on net, force the goaltender to make a save.
It just shows how much of a talent that Nick Albano is, that he has a goal today, and we keep talking about him missing the net.
Yeah, but it's finding him.
When you're at the NHL Bruins development camp as a true freshman at the Division III level, you're quite the talent. And Albano, there's a reason why he was named the USCHO.com National Rookie of the Year. The Conference Rookie of the Year, that went to Zach Bross, also on the Beacons. Handling it here are the Red Dragons. Bad bounce, but they're able to tap it away right at their own blue line. Otherwise, the Beacons might have been in. It's Gallagher shoveling it ahead, able to find the stick of Skinner, but it's just out of his reach. Has to shovel the pass for a centering feed. Finds a wide open player in Bryant, who had to slow it down, and he's denied by Medica. Bryant still with it. Hands it off for Chukrin. Chukrin in tight, sending it in front, looking for Skinner, and it's flipped out and all the way down the ice within a wave off icing.
Yeah, a couple times there where the Beacons were trying to float pucks towards the front of the net. Don't mind that. Just got to be strong on that stick. Once that puck comes through, got to find a way to pound that on net. A couple times where that puck has come through and didn't really get as much on it as they had hoped. As that puck will go for an icing here.
Let's take a look at a replay of one of those chances for UMass Boston. You see Peter Belisle there. This was Skinner able to center, and that was
play.
Bryant. Just couldn't quite get it on the forehand the first opportunity there.
And the extra stick handle cost him and allowed Modica to get across and bought the goaltender a little bit more time than he would have had if he was able to just one-time that, and that created a stop there. Modica still challenging save, but a little bit easier than a one-timer.
And at 5'6", 165, you got to think it's probably easier to beat Modica high than it is to beat him going left to right, as there's either a shot block or a really nice save by McBurney as Chuckman was right in front of the goaltender.
Definitely going to see some more net in a guy that's 5'6", but I think he does so well positionally and attacking shooters, challenging shooters, that it's not as easy as it might seem.
Well, he's out of the New Jersey Hitmen junior team. Were you a Hitman or a Rocket? I know you're out of the New Jersey area.
Both. I was a journeyman. Played for pretty much everybody, but my junior days, Jersey Hitmen for sure, 212. Any Hitmen guys will know what that means.
Matt Meisenbacher, a former goalie with UMass Boston, longtime color commentator. My name is Seth Dorensky. Bring you the action here at the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink. SUNY Cortland, a first-time entrant, trying to win their 4th consecutive in-season regular season tournament. There's a bad tripping call as McGregor just obviously tripped up the player, immediately threw his head down in frustration. That's 3 penalties on the Beacons. All 3 have come on the 4th line. The last thing you want to do as a 4th-line player is to be giving up penalties, especially because it's your role to be on the penalty kill.
It looks bad for a lot of reasons, Seth. One, your minutes are already a little bit smaller than what some of the other lines, especially the top 2 lines, are going to get. So you're already faced with less time than what those guys, and then as soon as coaches start to see you take penalties consistently, it tells them you're just not as good as the other 4th line or the other lineups. You're too slow. And like you said, 3rd today, this Cortland power play, which has looked confident so far. See what they can do here.
SUNY Cortland, 1 for 2 in the first period. Didn't get anything really on the first man advantage, but got 3 shots off on the second, and they were able to score on Oliver Lester's first collegiate goal as the Beacons get the clearance. 14:30 to go in the second period. The Beacons scored first. SUNY Cortland answered 2:02 later. Both power play goals, both scored by defensemen as Albano's taken down, and we're going to go 4-on-4, just 31 seconds in to SUNY Cortland's power play. The Beacons draw a call against the Red Dragons.
Yeah, he's going to go for 2. Pretty simple call there on the hook. And that'll negate the Cortland power play as Shore will sit down.
Michael Shorey, the freshman of Syracuse, New York, played with the Buffalo Junior Sabres.
Good organization, familiar with them up in, like I said, up in Buffalo there, and a lot of good hockey coming from that part of the state. Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, a lot of good hockey players you see playing at the collegiate level.
4v4 we go, as it's collected there by Evan Helt. First time we've seen the big man out of Ohio see some time, the extra defenseman, but he's out there on the 4v4 unit. As Nicken couldn't keep it in. It's Nicken, Carter, Helt, and Nakbar. Nicken still handling the puck all the way back into his own zone, and the Beacons will collect behind their own net with Carter. 31-second difference between the 2 penalties, so the Beacons will get an abbreviated power play. Daniel Nakbar with speed, and he has so much of it. Nakbar into the zone. Nakbar still with it, loses it as he heads towards the goal mouth, but gets it right back. 55 left on the initial penalty to McGregor. Able to push it over for Nicken. Nicken trying to go all the way across for Nakbar, and now a breakaway chance the other way, but the pass eludes the stick of Skorjahan. Bouncing puck back into the Beacons' end. It's Helt, who's struggled for minutes this season, just his 3rd game, but a very talented defenseman who played well as a freshman for UMass Boston last year. Backhand feed finds Carter. Down to 28 seconds to go on the 4v4. Brian Carter all the way across to the player just on, that's Harrington. Close to too many men. Harrington from the near circle tried to send it across, and that's a bad mistake. 3v1 chances. Harrington tries to get back into the play. It's Beck who scored the game-winning goal yesterday. Across, and too many passes there by Cortland as they break up their own 3v1 opportunity.
Beacons completely fortunate there, Seth. That was a broken play on a lot of levels, as this will go for icing. First play, Harrington, you can't float a saucer pass up to the top of the blue line like that. It gets picked. You got a 3-on-1 going down the other end, and then Carter, surprisingly, a big mistake, totally committed on the initial pass. You can't do that on 3-on-1. Left the back door wide open, which was essentially a 2-on-0. But fortunately for the Beacons, didn't really even get a shot on net there. And if you're Cortland, that's a blown opportunity. You're not going to get a much better chance than that.
And then a bad mistake the other way is Bross couldn't quite collect the puck. It went off his skate just shy of the red line. Now the Beacons will start their abbreviated power play in their own end, and Cortland able to handle it as the Beacons just trying to get into the zone with 25 seconds left. Chance to clear it here, and that would pretty much do it. It's Justin Schiebel sending it down, and Beacons' power play was already short to begin with. They're going to maybe get into the zone with about 7 seconds. Chukri, the pass right on the tape of Sanapass, gets nothing on it for Redler, but good stick work there from Bross with 7. Bross needs to do something quick if the Beacons are going to get a shot off all the way across for Redler. Redler in front for Sanapass, has it knocked down. We're back to 5-on-5. Redler looking for Albano with the player coming in from behind. Redler has it, sends it across, skitters wide behind the net, and it'll come out to Chukri. So neither team able to score on their first power play opportunity of the second period. Albano's shot tipped wide by Sanapass, centering feed all the way out top for Chukrin. Chukrin sends a shot deflected down, puck's loose, and a great job by the defenseman LaValle knocking that over to the boards. Beacons close to drawing another call as Bross got pushed in hard into the boards. Up top, it's Albano, a shot that goes hard off of Shorey, the man who was called for the penalty, but it stays alive for UMass Boston. Bross in the circle, tight shot, deflects right back, and then Sanapass delivers a hard blow into a Cortland player, as this is going to be enough for an ice.
Could have been a penalty. We'll have to see here. Got a lot going on here. Santa Pass could have gotten called for an interference call. Let's see. And Coach Ball adamant for his team to line up quickly. This is a tired Cortland team. They're trying to buy as many seconds as they can here because they were pinned pretty good in their own zone here. Let's take a look and see if they can get the right players on the ice. And yeah, sure enough, refs making some changes here as Cortland was trying to sneak a few fresh guys onto the ice here, but a crucial point in the game here for UMass is they've got a tired Cortland team on the ice right now.
Fresh legs, it's the third line. None of these guys were out for the PK or the power play or the ensuing minutes afterwards as Beacons lose the draw, but it's Riley trying to chase it down behind the net. Almost midway through this second period, two teams scored goals 2:02 apart, but nothing doing here in the second. Bryant from behind the net tries the wraparound, comes all the way around, and it's Harrington, his fellow freshman, collecting. Up top, Gallagher being pressured, wisely sends it down low before a Cortland player could knock it out of the zone. Pressure here, and Skinner tiptoeing the line, able to keep it alive for a while. Finally tipped away, and it's going to be a breakaway the other way. It's Shorey with Gallagher tapping away. What a play by Gallagher to bail out Pat Harrington.
Beacon's really fortunate here. That's another turnover at your own blue line, a breakaway down the other end. If that's not a tired Cortland team, that's a breakaway for sure. They're really fortunate. A couple bad turnovers there. A great shift, a couple great shifts actually, but then you do something like that here. Take a look.
And actually Skinner with the bad play.
Yeah, you got to get that puck deep. You got to. I mean, you've got a Cortland Red Dragon team completely gassed. You just try to throw that one in deep. You'll take your chances there on a one-on-one in the corner versus trying to make a pretty play at the blue line, a skate move. And instead, it's a breakaway down the other end. Both teams get to change. And a lot of things I like here from UMass today, but a couple mistakes that have kind of trying to do a little bit too much, I think, in some cases.
Matt, we're 51 seconds away from the midway point of this game. We thought it would be a goaltender battle. Instead, it's really been kind of who's going to make less mistakes, as that was a pass that went off of Medica. Was not expecting it. Fortunately, it didn't go through his legs for either team, because that's just a bad way to give up a goal. Huge hit coming there on Daniel Nakbar. Knocking him off the puck was Dorian Overland. Puck loose, and there was a Beacon trying to return the favor. That was Evan Helt on Overland. And I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more Evan Helt, the seventh defenseman, with Harrington making a bad mistake on the 4v4. And he made a mistake or two yesterday, just some freshman nerves or maybe some freshman thought process there, as Nicken able to get onside after Santa Pass nearly went across, and he'll draw the offensive zone draw with 10:01 to go in the second.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see. I think the other thing as well, take a look at this replay, is the period of long change. You mentioned this, a great opportunity to get those extra skaters involved, but you'll see
hit
here,
on Nakbar.
Yeah, it tries to make a play here. You'll see just a little bit of a backhand pass, but too late at that point, completely covered as that shot goes wide.
Yeah, another shot from Nick Albano from a good spot, but he can't put it on target. Three Beacons behind the net. Redler centering feed, and it's tipped away as Bross was looking for the one-timer. Nice job by Pericek to just get enough on that as Albano pressure behind his own net, but he is another one of those Beacons who can fly. Gets through three players, has the red line, all the way into the zone. Still with it, Albano trying to leave it across as his pass was deflected just past the glove of Medica, and then a pass all the way across from Redler is tipped out of his own zone.
It's just a great play by Albano, and that's the skill set he has. You saw there, skates end to end, is able to dodge and weave all the way in. Wasn't really able to get it on that pass, I think, where he wanted it, but it's a nice individual effort there from 5.
Puck is loose, and McBurney covers up after chuckering, and Albano couldn't quite make the connection. A little bit of pushing and shoving with Albano, one of the main characters in that scrum. 9:15 to go. UMass Boston 1, SUNY Cortland 1. And if you're a fan of the Red Dragons, this is exactly what you want right now. Gave up a lot of chances in the first period. The Beacons have not been nearly as dominant here in the second.
No, it's been an even hockey game, and we talked about this. You know, shortening this hockey game, they did a great job in that first period of really minimizing things. We left that first period 1-1, and now here in the second period have really gone toe-to-toe with this Beacons team. I think the Beacons have the advantage in terms of scoring opportunities. They've definitely generated more offensively, but haven't been able to capitalize. A lot of that has contributed to the goaltending of 33 Modica.
Crowley loses the puck there. McGregor with some good stick work. Gallagher ahead, tipped forward by Dakota Keene. A rare shift for this fourth line, who committed 3 penalties. The Beacons are going to be called offsides, although Keene is claiming that he was past the red line there. And we'll see where they're going to take it. They're going to take it inside the Beacon zone, despite UMass Boston's claims that it should have been otherwise.
Yeah, fourth line definitely needs a good shift here. A couple or 3 penalties today, and just haven't really seen that that spark that we're used to seeing out of this line.
Another win for Cortland. They've been very effective in the faceoff, Todd. UMass Boston was plus 12 yesterday. They were just plus 1 in that first period, and I think it's been more of the same in the second. Very even. Actually, they were minus 1 in the faceoff dot in the first period. Bouncing puck behind the net. Gallagher collects. He's been very good today. And none more important than that big deflection on Shorey as he was on a partial breakaway. Behind the net, tapped around, and Gallagher the first one to it. Gallagher, one of a number of Pennsylvania natives who are probably very excited for tomorrow's game. There's a big save by McBurney, and it's handled by Harrington, although he is cleared out. That's an obvious penalty, and it might not just be 2. Nico Gonzalez charged there, and then Caruso sent to the ground. That was egregious, as Harrington was destroyed right at the near boards, and out comes Ed Perkins, as they're going to have to check on Pat Harrington, who's still down out of our sight line, and the Beacons are not happy with that hit.
And they should be
from
sending
Nico Gonzalez.
They should send Gatos too. He's been cleared out of scrums twice now. He should be getting. There should be 2 minors here, Seth, and I think we're going to see at least 2. The hit for sure. That was high. That was elbowing. He's going to get tossed. There's no doubt about that. Gonzalez is gone.
Nico Gonzalez, the junior out of Rochester, New York, who's going to make his way to the dressing room a little bit early today.
They can call whatever they want. He left his feet. That was a high hit. That was an elbow. You can call whatever you want there. Not surprised Gonzalez is gone. Now, what they want to do with Gatos is another story. The reason I'm curious with Gatos is he was cleared from the scrum at least 2, if not 3 separate times where he was cleared, went back to a different scrum, cleared again, went back for a different scrum, 3 different players. And usually when that happens, you're going to get called for unsportsmanlike. Now, we'll see what the referees want to do. There's a lot of options here. Obviously, likely a 2 and 10, if not a 5 and 10 for Gonzalez.
Harrington is up, but he's using the help of Ed Perkins and Garrett Gallagher. I think that we will not be seeing Harrington again in this period. Who knows about this game? The benefit is dressing the extra defenseman today. You do have 6 available, but that was a nasty hit. As Harrington, it's a good sign he's getting a little bit of help, but that was the hit. And then here's what you were saying. You see Gatos just sending.
Well, that's the first.
Might be a little bit of acting by.
Yeah, that was the
Caruso.
first. And then two times after that, though, twice after that, he went and engaged with 2 other players. So
we're going to see 5 on Nico
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
So it's a 5 and 10 on Gonzalez. Now, let's see what they want to do with Gatos. I don't know. They might just settle on the 5 and 10 since Gonzalez gets tossed. Maybe they don't want to give too much of an advantage to UMass Boston there, despite the fact they probably deserves it. That's just kind of the way it goes. You see the 5 already on the scoreboard, or they're still discussing. So let's see here. I don't see anyone in the box. I'd be curious.
Well, someone's gonna have to serve that. It's interesting. Ed Perkins immediately going over and talking to some of the Beacon scratches. Harrington is going to need something. I'm not sure if we're going to see Pat Harrington again today. That was a vicious hit.
Yeah, your hope is that he just got the wind knocked out of him a little bit. Sometimes those hits, can just really, you can't. It's tough to breathe. And, we'll see. We'll have to take a look and watch him as he's spending some time with the training staff today. Hopefully not too serious of an injury. But referee's still talking here, Seth. And with 8:15 left in this period, it's a huge point in the hockey game. Obviously, goes without saying. Coach Blyle using this as an opportunity to talk to his team.
And right now, I think the Beacons are using this as a timeout. Corey Schneider brought out the board. I think they're going to draw some stuff up here right now, take advantage of this long break as finally Douglas Place Jr., one of our 2 referees, Stephen Benoit, is over talking with the SUNY Cortland bench.
And what they're trying to do, what the coaching staff is looking for here is it looks like Caruso's in the box. Now, I'm not quite sure what that is.
That's got to be a matching.
Unless he got an unsportsmanlike, but that would have to be, they'd have to take Gatos as well in that scenario. I don't see how they could just get Caruso unless maybe there was something I missed, but very interesting. Yeah, and Gatos here, let's see, he should be headed to the box as well. So I would expect those to be matching. I don't think that'll be an extra 2.
It was Gatos who knocked Caruso down. The bad news for Caruso is he now has 3 penalties, but the good news if you're Caruso is Peter Blau is probably not going to mind you sticking up for your teammate there as much as the first two where it gave the power play the other way.
It's funny.
And remember, Gatos is a defenseman, so this means, at least for the first 2 minutes of this 5-minute major, SUNY Cortland only has 4 defensemen who've already played a game this weekend.
So far, I mean, they're still talking to Cortland. So, you know, there's something, and again, we don't have any ability to understand what the coaching staff is saying to both the UMass and Cortland benches. So something is being discussed, however, more so, I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry that a 5 and 10. However, there's now 2 Red Dragons in the box.
Well, someone's got to serve that penalty for Gonzalez.
Right, but I'm curious if perhaps maybe giving an extra 2 to Gatos would be the only thing that I can think of. The fact that we haven't gotten back to action here, perhaps a double minor to Gatos, I think that'd be a little bit extreme. I mean, that's calling it by the book. I think the 5 and 10 is probably what'll stay, and yeah, sure enough, it'll just be I say that as if it's a 2-minute minor, but it'll be a 5-minute power play for UMass Boston.
The player serving the penalty is the extra skater for SUNY Cortland, number 5, Tom Ritchie, the sophomore out of Spencerport, New York. I don't believe we've seen him yet today. The Beacons on the man advantage. They are 1 for 2 today, but their second power play lasted just 32 seconds. They didn't even really get any zone time. So the Beacons will go on a 5-minute major after Nico Gonzalez made contact with the head there of Pat Harrington. We don't know the exact call, but you could have called it about 4 different ways and still gotten to the ejection of Gonzalez, the junior, for SUNY Cortland. Beacons will send the top unit out there: Albano, Bross, Redler, Nakbar, and Chukrin. And remember, if you score here on the 5-minute major, you're still on the power play, so a chance to maybe make this a 2-goal game, 3-goal game, as that one skitters through the pads of Medica off the shot from Chukrin, but goes wide. Bross for Albano already has 1. Down low for Redler. Redler trying to go through for Nakbar. Hard shot from Chukrin, but it catches the Red Dragon on the chest of Medica.
Great stop. Great stop from 33, but a nice power play there from UMass Boston. Love the puck movement, low to high, high to low, also side to side, left to right. That's really how you wear down that penalty kill, and you saw there a one-timer from Chukrin. Not surprised that unit's going to stay on the ice.
47 seconds gone on the 5-minute major. That one skitters through Chukrin. It's going to be a foot race. Coming through is Shorey, but Albano just ahead, and McBurney helps out his fellow Beverly native as he tips it over towards the boards. Albano right onto the tape of Bross. Bross has options left and right. Goes through the skates, backhand shot. Woo, that would have been pretty, but instead it's Medica with yet another save.
Yeah, see, I like that. You know, there's a tendency in today's day and age, once you get into the zone on the power play, to pull up. And love the fact that Bross decided to continue his momentum. He had the angle, and in more better news for the UMass Boston Beacons, Pat Harrington grabbed his helmet, allowed back to the bench. So clearly not in concussion protocol. Seemed to be just a minor injury, and now back in action shortly here for the boys in white.
Great to see Harrington, the freshman out of Stoneham, Massachusetts, played his junior hockey with the Northeast Generals of the North American Hockey League back out there. So the Beacons with their full retinue going forward. Nakbar, the backhand feed for Chukrin to the near side for Albano. Ed Bross right next to him. Albano still with it, nearly lost it. Cross for Chukrin, tic-tac-toe pass, but Bross couldn't quite get there, and it's cleared by DiMatteo. 1:30 gone by on the man advantage. The Beacons had a couple looks, but haven't been able to solve Nick Medica, who made 46 saves yesterday and has been the backstop of this Red Dragons title pursuit. Chukrin with a lot of options in front, tipped by Sanipass, collects his own rebound and will send it up top for Albano. Another shot that couldn't quite make it on net, deflected wide in front, and it'll be sent down the length of the ice. The Beacons need to make a change here. Already 2 minutes gone by, and most of this group has been out there the whole 2 minutes.
Well, I like what they're doing on this 5-on-3. I mean, they are shooting. Anytime they have a lane, they're taking it. The only problem is Modica's seeing it, and he's shown today, again, another chance there in front, but he's shown it today. If he can see it, he's going to stop it.
Up top, it's Skinner's. Part of the second unit's out there. Over for Gallagher. Gallagher trying to send it around. Sanipass had a great chance. Deflected away by Medica on the redirection. That was a great look in front for Garrison Sanipass.
Another huge save.
Gallagher tipped down by Nickin, and it's stuck, knocked away by the stick of a Cortland player. In front, Nickin denied by the side of the cage. Attempted clearance is not going to get out. So we are past the midway point on the 5-minute major to Nico Gonzalez.
Cortland very tired. Skates aren't moving. It's a huge opportunity for UMass.
Up top, it's Carter. Over for Nickin. A player falls down. LaValle trying to battle with Sanipass. It's not an advantage for Cortland. Up top, Gallagher being pressured there, and it's deflected wide by a Cortland stick. Sanipass Trying to get around the other number 24. It's Skinner looking for an option in front. Instead, it's Carter. Carter with tons of space, and it's tipped wide. Now it's Gallagher through the goal mouth, and tipped wide by Sanapass with an empty net in front. Sanapass again into the body. Puck's loose. Bodies are flying, and the Beacons will collect behind the net. Sanapass one more time, and it's tipped up off the rafters with Medica on his back. What a string of opportunities for UMass Boston.
It's unbelievable. You got to give it up for if you're regardless. You got to give it up for Cortland. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that if you're UMass Boston. If you're your coaching staff just has to kind of look and say, boys, there's not much more we can do. Keep doing what you're doing. But the Red Dragons, just effortless in their penalty kill here. Those pucks were bouncing everywhere except the net. UMass Boston, again, do not change a thing. You've got them exactly where you want them right now, even after the change.
Chukrin sends a missile a little bit high, caught the boards high over the net. The Beacons are going to send their two defensemen who played the first 2+ minutes of this 5-minute major right back out there. Chukrin and Albano joined by Bross, Redler, and Nakbar. Their number one power play unit out here for the final just about 2 minutes, down to 1:30. Up top, it's Albano already with one, has his shot redirected right back at him by Parachek. Albano tries again, and this one sticked up. I believe it was off the stick there of Medica, and we'll get another stoppage.
Yeah, and just another save. I mean, he's been doing it all day, folks. This is a tough task for a goaltender. A 5-minute, 2 minutes is hard enough. A 5-minute power play to kill off in only 1:16. Still plenty of time if you're UMass, but they've thrown everything at him except the kitchen sink.
Big face-off win by Cortland, but unable to clear the zone. The Beacons have been 5-on-4 for 5 minutes. Well, almost. Just about 4 at this point, but they've yet to score in the major. Bross for Albano being pressured. Backhand feed for Chukrin. Chukrin in front. Redler was there, but it was just wide of him. Shot from Bross skitters wide as it was deflected. A foot race on the far side, and Gabe Chukrin, the Beacons captain, wins it. Redler somehow finds Albano. Albano thinking about the shot, still with it, with 50 seconds left on the 5-minute major. For Bross. Bross scored yesterday, has it tipped wide of the glove of Medica, and again, Gabe Chukrin is flying right now, able to keep it in the zone. One last foot race, a chance to clear the zone, but Albano steps in, and it's just wide of the glove there of Bross. A great clearance with 30 seconds left, and SUNY Cortland only has 30 seconds left to kill. It's Nakbar in on net. A blocker side save there. Huge save from Medica, but the attempted clearance is knocked down by Bross. From his knees, able to keep it alive. Chukrin tees up a shot, kicked away. Rebound is still loose in front. A chance to clear, but it's kept alive by Nakbar with 12. UMass Boston has done everything but score here on the major. Up top, it's Albano. Quick shot goes off the post after being redirected by Medica's pads. Down to 2, and a chance to clear by Di Matteo. This will be an icing. Although Beck doesn't realize it, he could have played it, and instead it'll be an offensive zone draw. But the Beacons, it's got to be a bit frustrating right now to not get that goal with the 5-minute major.
No, that was a great power play. All 5 minutes, I don't think you could ask for much more. They had the scoring opportunities. Modica just continues to be the backstop. Now watch for the momentum to swing the other way here. Usually when you kill off a penalty, you're going to see momentum, especially a 5-minute major, swing towards the team that could kill it off. Now, Cortland's still very tired after this icing. It's a big face-off here, big opportunity for McGregor, and wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Cortland's going to take their timeout. And I'm not surprised, despite it only being the second period, you kind of have to. Your team just killed off a 5-minute major, and you ice the puck there. You've got tired guys on the ice, including your goaltender. Most guys hunched over there. So not surprised the Red Dragons using their timeout after the kill. But, boy, if you're UMass Boston, you're Coach Blau, Coach Schneider, you got to remind your team, boys, please do not change anything. I know there's a sense to get frustrated, and you try to get a little bit pretty. You're kind of scratching your head. Why haven't we scored yet? We're doing all the right things. Just haven't gotten the bounce.
Let's take a look at some of the Beacons' multitude of chances here. I think we're going to see 3 good looks in one sequence for UMass Boston on that major.
Yeah, again, I mean, it just goes to what we're saying here. Just continuing to fire pucks towards the front of the net. I mean, watch as some of these. It's amazing that not one of these pucks went in. Modica with a couple great stops here, but you see just crazy traffic. I mean, everybody in front of the net. And UMass, they'll get another opportunity here. That puck gets through. That deflected up into the netting. Another stop from Modica there. You saw there, and that was only, maybe 10 seconds of the whole 5 minutes.
Garrison Sanapass has to be scratching his head. He was wide open in front. Medica was on the right side of the crease. The puck came through, and he just tipped it wide off the far post. That was probably the worst of the chances that went by the wayside as Nakbar wins the faceoff, but Carter can't handle it. It comes out of the zone. That's a big win for Cortland as the Beacons so good on their offensive zone draws. Now it bounces in on Medica, and Nakbar is going to get one more chance in the offensive end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Cortland will get a chance to change here.
Not that these other guys are probably much fresher after playing as much defense as they've had to play.
It's a good point, Seth. I'd agree. I don't think you have much options. Most guys grabbing for water right now. If you're Cortland, big face-off here. Top line for the Beacons out on the ice. They got a lot of momentum going their way.
Beacons top line center versus Cortland second, and they're going to kick Crowley. It's a big story yesterday as they'll bring in Shorey. A lot of draws where they kicked one or both players out of the draws. The Beacons collect. Nicken sends a shot that's deflected wide by Sanipass. Beacon lost his stick. That was Daniel Nakbar. Sanipass comes away with it amongst three players, still fighting for it. He can't get much behind a shot that goes wide. Puck is cleared out of the zone, but only as far as the Beacons' blue line. Carter is there. Cortland has been in their own zone for a while, but a bad turnover. Lester had to wait for his teammate to touch up. Oliver Lester has the lone goal today for Cortland. It was his first collegiate goal for the freshman. Nice job finding the puck amongst his skates by Shorey. Can Cortland get a little bit of offensive zone time? That's not going to help. Gabe Chuckring takes it off the chest in his own bench, and the faceoff is going to come in the Beacon zone.
And if you're Cortland, especially the coaching staff, you've got to figure out a way to get out of your defensive zone. Spend some time in the offensive zone. I don't care who you are as a goaltender. That was a lot of time to be in your crouch and to be active. He's recovered probably a little bit here, Modica has, but got to find a way to get some offensive shifts here to end the period.
Bross unable to win it. Gallagher floats it in. And at this point, I'm a little surprised that UMass Boston keeps going with Zach Bross in the circle. Yes, he's the centerman, but he's struggled each of the last 2 days. Not a centerman by trade. Nolan Redler's a very good centerman, although Bross wins that one, and Redler's shot deflects up high. The rebound was just floating there for a while, but it kicks out to the near circle. Chuckrin backhand feed. Beacon's going 2v2. Robiak with Redler on the far side. A lot of nice stick handling by Robiak. In the end, he just dumps it off the back of the net. Not the most productive play as Bross clears out a Cortland player. And another turnover as Bross is going to go. His team leading 16th penalty of the season, and that was not the best thing for UMass Boston as they take a penalty to end the second period for the second straight day.
Yeah, Bross on a board there. It's one too many steps, I guess, after the play had already taken place there out of the corner. And, well, it's like we said, you need some offense from Cortland. You give it to him if you're UMass Boston. An unforced error there, and now with just under 2 minutes left to play in this period, UMass Boston with or Cortland rather with a power play. UMass Boston's going to have to kill it off.
Cortland 1 for 3, 0 for 1 in the period, but their power play lasted just 31 seconds after they were called for a penalty, dragging down Nick Albano. Chance in front, puck is loose, and McBurney with his biggest stop of the period as he was able to keep that leg tied to the near post. Another effort in front as Cortland's getting a lot of bodies there, and another nice job by McBurney as Storjahan was just sitting there on the near post hoping to get a chance to poke it in.
Both those pucks really came close to going in. Really not sure how McBurney made that first stop on the crossing pass. You'll take a look at the replay here. Just not sure how he makes this save. Watch this puck as it comes from behind the net towards the front. It's going to creep back door. Now watch. UMass Boston all staring at the puck carrier. You've got a Cortland Red Dragon going back door right there. And I think McBurney may have gotten a piece of that because that looked like it was going to be tucked home for sure. He made another save soon thereafter, and that's a good response there from the goaltender.
Big face-off win by McGregor, but Harrington is stripped of the puck. And it'll be McGregor just past the tape of Keene. Can he get there? Not quite. Nice job defensively by Sean Perry, actually the captain Stefano Alonzi to get there first. So UMass Boston trying to kill off this penalty. If the Beacons are successful, they'll have 7 seconds of penalty kill to start the third. Remember, the nation's best penalty kill on D1, D2, and D3 on the men's side, but they've already given up one, trying to avoid a second. SUNY Cortland has not led today, but just like yesterday, gave up the first, got a game-tying goal, and they were tied after 2. The Beacons would be fine with that today. It's Cortland able to keep it alive, and it's Lester up top. Remember, he scored the first goal in this one. The assist was to Alonzi. It's a power play goal. Albano able to find Keene. McGregor to his right. 2v2, the Beacons go. Keene sends a shot that goes off the leg of Lester and back over to Keene, who's just trying to kill some clock, pinning along the boards. 1v4 does his job there. Under 40 seconds to go in the second period of this 54th annual Codfish Bowl championship game. Cortland taking their time with 30 seconds. It's Lester tipping it ahead, and Cortland gains the zone. Behind the net, the Red Dragons control the wraparound chance, and unable to quite glove that one was McGregor with 20 seconds left. Dangerous times for the Beacons. Up top, Lester already with one goal, looking for his second, and McBurney makes the glove save.
It's another opportunity. Cortland didn't miss by much on that backdoor again. Try to jam it home. McBurney able to get the pad on that. That didn't miss by much. 14 seconds left in this period. It's a crucial face-off. Curious to see who's going to take it. If it's going to be Riley.
No, they're going to go Stevie Bryant, the third-line center, and Bryant loses that face-off. Down to 12 seconds to go in the period. Can Cortland get one more chance? It's knocked down by Bryant, picked up by Riley. Can the Beacons get a chance? It's Riley and Bryant just behind Bryant with 3-2, and that will do it for the second. SUNY Cortland, the underdogs, will start the third on the power play. But just as we saw in the first period, the Beacons, at least a 5-minute stretch of dominance, which will show in the stats, I'm sure, but nothing to show for it. And right now, UMass Boston, sure, a couple of those guys, and I know this is a broadcaster thing rather than a player thing, have to think not again here in the Codfish Bowl. UMass Boston, remember, has lost 4 consecutive Codfish Bowls here at home, including back-to-back championship games the last 2 years by a single goal.
Well, it's become an all-too-familiar theme here, and we talked about this in the pregame. There's a tendency, somehow this tournament does things to teams where, I mean, here you have a UMass team that has thrown everything at Cortland and somehow still only a 1-1 hockey game. It's just amazing in the Codfish Bowl. This is not the first time that we've seen this type of thing happen where UMass Boston just seems to really have a tough time. I mean, they make you earn it in this tournament. And here you have a 1-1 game. It's anyone's game now, a 20-minute hockey game going into the third period.
And, of course, you have to give a huge amount of credit to Nick Bedica on that 5-minute major. He came up extremely huge for his team. 46 saves yesterday. If Cortland wins this game, and I don't care what the final score is, we already know who the MVP is for SUNY Cortland. The first-year starter, the junior out of New Jersey, has been huge for his team all weekend long.
Yeah, he's looked, I mean, really just all around very good on his angles, very good on tracking pucks. And I mean, he's surely gotten a couple bounces somehow that I saw a couple saves. I have no idea how he made them. Just was able to find a will. Where there's a will, there's a way, I guess, is as the saying goes. But has really looked strong here tonight. And from a goaltending perspective, very frustrating for the opposing team. When you're doing all the right things, you're moving pucks well, you got a 5-minute power play that somehow is killed off, and you take a look down, you see, you know, a little goaltender at 5'6", he's making some of these incredible saves. You're kind of scratching your head as to what you could be doing better. But I can't stress it enough. I think that UMass Boston has really looked good today. They've done a lot of things that I've liked. I think the physicality was a little bit more present there in that period. Just haven't gotten a bounce. I think the worst thing they can do is try to get a little bit too pretty, a little bit too creative. This might be a scenario where you've got to find pucks in the front of the net, be tough on your stick, try to jam one home. Looking at a player like Garrison Santapass to maybe give these Beacons the lead.
He's already missed a couple. I'm sure Santapass would love to get a game-winning goal in his final Codfish Bowl chance. On the other side, Bailey McBurney was quiet in that second period, and I'm sure he's okay with that. He didn't have to make nearly as many saves. But McBurney's made a couple saves today, and especially yesterday in a 3-1 game, that have really kept the Beacons steady, that not easily could have been goals.
Yeah.
McBurney continues to be the backbone of this Beacons team, and maybe their most important player. With all those offensive weapons, it doesn't matter if they're leaking goals, and that's something they haven't done this season, especially here at home.
Well, one of the most difficult things as a goaltender is just to be there when you're called upon. Oftentimes, it's pretty easy when you're facing, let's say 10 shots a period, you finish the game with 30. I mean, that's a pretty routine night for a goaltender. One of the more harder nights is when you're actually facing less rubber, and you've got to still be there when called upon. A lot of times those high scoring opportunities come at a time when you least expect it, and I think McBurney has done a really nice job tonight. He made a couple saves there, 3 that I can remember late in that period that allow this game to be tied and not have, worst case scenario, Cortland with a lead going into the third period with the Beacons at their home tournament.
Well, let's hear a little bit from Bailey McBurney right now. Had a chance to talk to him as part of our Beacon Spotlight here for the second intermission, and he talked about some of the ways that he really worked hard during the offseason to improve. Part of it was preparation and getting into routine. Part of it was improving his eyes and improving his ability to go laterally. I think we've seen that a lot this season, and we'll hear from Bailey right now.
To be honest with you, I'd just say it's preparation. I feel like my preparation this year is a lot better. After we lost last season, I did a lot of time. I did a lot of thinking. Took took some time away from the rink for a bit. Just worked on my body, worked on my mental game. It's all routine for me, really. On game days or even the day before a game, I'll wake up same time, eat the same thing. It's the same exact routine. Go to the rink, start preparing. It's worked pretty well so far. It's like what I eat, how much water I drink. I'm constantly looking at the clock, trying to figure out, okay, I need to get to the rink at this time. Just start stretching, stuff like that. I'll have a big breakfast. I kind of pick John Bono's brain a little bit on what to eat and how much to eat and stuff like that. He's really into his body and nutrition, so he's been a big help. Two things, actually. I really wanted to get stronger in my legs. I wanted my legs to be a lot stronger, so focused on that a lot. And I did a lot of hand-eye coordination, stuff like that, like reflexes, and just working on eye movements, trying to get my eyes stronger and faster. It's really weird, actually. It's like one of those things where it's like once you're in the zone, there'll be times where you'll be like, oh, wow, how did I just make that save? And it's all muscle memory. Yeah, definitely. I think I've improved a little bit from last season. But, again, the team, it's all about the team, and the team's playing unbelievable in front of me. And without them, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So as long as they keep doing an unbelievable job in front of me, like our defense, forwards getting back, it's going to be tough for us to lose. We were in about the same position last year at this time, and I think we kind of got comfortable. And I think this season we understood that, and we're going to go into the second half thinking that this is a new season where it's a fresh slate, and our first game is against Tufts in the opening game of the Codfish.
That was Bailey McBurney talking about some of the ways that he worked on improving heading into his junior season. He's a big reason why the Beacons are 8-0, although they're 20 minutes away from who knows what with the way the Codfish Bowl goes. I can tell you right now, if you're wondering, just a 5-minute overtime, no 20-minute overtime setup. So if you have plans after the game, that'll help. If the game were to be still tied after a 5-minute overtime, we would go to a best of 3 shootout, although I don't think anybody on either side is really looking forward to that. So we'll see if we do have a winner in the next 25 minutes of 5v5. The scoring summary, it's pretty simple. 2 goals in a 2-0-2 span of the first, both on the power play. Nick Albano from Gabe Chukrin and Nolan Redler. SUNY Cortland answered right back their second power play of the game. It was Oliver Lester from Stefano Alonzi and Douglas Elgstem. For SUNY Cortland, no goals in the second. Beacons did have a lot of time on the power play on the Nico Gonzalez 5-minute major. The exact call was contact to the head and then a disqualification. And Derek Caruso was whistled for hitting after the whistle. Gatos went off for hitting after the whistle as well. Matt, the stats a little bit more favoring the Beacons, 15-6 in the second period, 28-18 overall. Face-offs 27-21 in favor of UMass Boston. The Beacons clearly the more dominant team there in the second, but that helps when you have the major. Your big message and what maybe we expect from Peter Belisle outside of some fire and brimstone is just keep trying to do what you're doing. I mean, thus far the Beacons have certainly had the better chances in this game, with the exception of those bad Beacons turnovers in the offensive end that have led SUNY Cortland racing down the other way.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be some minor changes, if anything. Maybe throwing a couple more at the net so you can try to generate some rebounds or a couple, maybe throw an extra guy in front, try to create more traffic, take his eyes away. But I don't see them changing too much. I really think that for the majority of this hockey game, UMass Boston has looked really good. The problem has been Modica. And unfortunately for UMass, there's really not much you can do other than keep doing what you're doing. Now, I think the big thing is McBurney will be called upon this period. Cortland will have a couple shifts. They will have momentum where he's going to be called upon to make a couple of big saves, and he's done it all year. So your ask is going to be for McBurney to hold it at 1 and for UMass Boston to try and give themselves the lead, preferably early on in the period so that you can do a few things from a coaching perspective. Not to say that you go in a shell, but you do a couple things where maybe throw out a couple different lines. You have yourself the lead. You just play a little bit different versus when it's tied, you got to kind of continue to press and continue to measure. So I think overall, don't change too much. Make sure McBurney's ready for this third period and start. 7 seconds still left to kill off, but after that, really flying, trying to give yourself the lead and not have to worry about it late in the period.
We've already heard from the lacrosse team. Let's see a little bit of baseball action as the baseball team competed in their annual Cedar Rapids Challenge right before break as they get ready for their season to start in just a few weeks. Well, while the baseball team is a few weeks away from their first game, a couple other Beacons teams have already played in 2019. Women's basketball team, a huge slightly upset win against the full-strength UMass Dartmouth team. The men's basketball team fell just a little short. Outscored UMass Dartmouth by 7 in the first half, but outscored by 11 in the second half to fall by 4. Women's hockey not in action until next week. Take a look around the rest of the conference right now. One final for you. Nichols defeating Suffolk. Curry College leading Babson in what would be an upset, although Curry's already beaten the Beacons on their home rink, and later on New England College and Norwich go for championships. Matt, a minute 40 to go. Let's take a look at the highlights. No goals, but there certainly could have been quite a few if not for the stellar goaltending by both goalies.
Yeah, let's run it here. You'll see UMass Boston with a shot on goal, and again, you can sense a theme with these highlights. I mean, it really are a screenshot, essentially, of what these two periods have been. A lot of shots from UMass Boston and a lot of saves from Modica, as you can see there. A nice little butterfly stop there. Cortland does get a breakaway here. This is the turnover at the blue line. And it was a little bit at the end of a shift, so a little bit tired here as Gallagher was able to get back and poke that puck away. Otherwise, that could have been very dangerous for UMass Boston. And again, Cortland, doing a good job. The physical play has been there. Now, they've taken a couple penalties, but they have been somewhat punishing. This was a great save by McBurney on the back door. As you can see, a couple, that's that big penalty by Gonzalez. That was a huge, huge turning point in this hockey game. There's that shove by Gatos, and that gave the UMass Boston Beacons a 5-minute major power play. Just weren't able to convert on it. And you're going to see a theme here. Just a lot of rubber being sent. This is that breakaway by Bross. He's able to generate and get a shot. Another shot on goal. But notice as UMass Boston continues to fire at Cortland, the steadiness of Modica in that net, tracking the puck really well. Never really too far out of position. And coming away with this was that highlight we showed you with 5 minutes left in the period there. Still 2 minutes on that power play. Really not sure how that one still didn't go in. But Modica, just overall theme here. A lot of shots by UMass Boston, a lot of saves by Modica, and then late in the period here, a couple stops from McBurney to keep this thing tied, as Cortland did have a little bit of momentum after that kill. He was able to come away with a couple saves. And here you have it, folks. Tied 1-1 in the Codfish final of 2019.
SUNY Cortland starts the period on the power play, but that's already over. It was just 7 seconds, so the Beacons have now successfully killed off 4 power play opportunities for the SUNY Cortland Red Dragons. Parachek will send it in. Matt, we talked about it off air before we came back. This is a nervous time, especially if you're a UMass Boston alum, a UMass Boston fan. You know the history of the Codfish. For SUNY Cortland, this is just another game. For UMass Boston, anytime that they're in a close game here in the Codfish Bowl, they know some of the crazy bounces that can happen.
Yeah, there's a tendency in this tournament for just weird things to happen. We've seen it on both the men's and women's side. So should be get ready to be strapped in here in this third period, as that one goes off the face mask of Modica, but should be a good third period.
Great look from Bross right in the slot, but unable to beat the 5'6" goalie. Now it's tapped in front. Redler fighting for it, and Roviak couldn't find the bouncing puck as he had space along the far post. Evan Roviak had a goal and assist yesterday, still trying to add to that total. So the puck is out of the zone, and it'll stay out of the zone as Cortland will try to send it in, but it's knocked down, and the Beacons trying to catch SUNY Cortland in the midst of a change. Albano already with 1 goal, looking for his 50th career point. Off for Redler. Redler had to get rid of the puck as he absorbed a small blow, and SUNY Cortland will take advantage. It's Shorey who's moving the puck around Bross, and then a huge hit after the fact. Nothing dirty there as those two players combined for the hit, and McBurney will hold on. Going to take a look at our trivia question of the day really quickly. Matt, I didn't try to stump you too hard here. Name the last 2 UMass Boston goalies to have won the Codfish Bowl. And I'm going to give you the hint right now. The Beacons won back-to-back titles with the same goal.
Okay.
So you're going to have to go back a little bit further.
So he gets credit. So despite so it's not the 2 Codfish Bowls. You need 2 names.
Yes, I need 2 names.
Okay.
I know you're going to get the first name. I think you can get the second
2007. Name. All right. I'll have to give me a minute here. I'll get back to you on that.
Behind the net, it's Harrington. Controlled there by SUNY Cortland for a moment. That's Beck, who scored the game winner yesterday. 2v2 they go. Albano onto the stick of Nicken, who's been red hot. Nicken looking for options. Leads it for Albano, and the rebound is loose in the slot. Played by a SUNY Cortland player, and finally finding it is Michael Shorey. My goodness, the combination of Nicken and Albano, that pair is so much fun to watch, and a lot of the Beacons' top offensive talent, they're underclassmen. That's the scary part for the rest of the NEHC. Sanipass watches that puck go all the way around the rim and finally drops right behind him. Bad bounce for the Northbrook, Illinois native as SUNY Cortland is going to make a change. Evan Helt is out there. Helt, the 7th defenseman, gets another shift. We saw him first on a 4-on-4. Haven't seen him get too many shifts today. Carter behind the net, onto the stick of Nakbar. Beacon's top line out there. Nakbar tries to get around a hit, and will send it in, but there's no one there for the Beacons. DiMatteo onto the stick of Overland, has it knocked down by Bryant, and Bryant can't quite get there in time as Elgstem puts some pressure on it. Tape-to-tape pass, Carter right back for Helt. Helt onto the stick of Skinner, and now picking it up in the neutral zone is Elgstem. Elgstem gets taken down, not enough for a call though, and it'll be Skinner being just able to clear the zone, but not much more. Pass is too far ahead for Elgstem, and SUNY Cortland's going to complete the change. The Beacons get a few new skaters out there as well. Already 3+ minutes gone by, and a pretty quiet start to period number 3. The lone 2 goals came late in the first period on power play goals. Tons of chances for the Beacons in the second period as SUNY Cortland is playing shorthanded, not only down a defenseman to start today, but Nico Gonzalez, the 4th line left winger, sent off with a major and a disqualification for contact to the head of Pat Harrington, who has come back for UMass Boston. LaValle right onto the stick of Alonzi. Alonzi will wrap it all the way around the boards. It'll come all the way out for Riley. Riley right onto the tape of Skinner. Skinner sends a shot from distance well wide, and the Beacons will try to set up in the zone. Kept alive by Riley, but puts it right onto the tape of a Cortland player. Bringing it into the zone. They have trailers, but McBurney makes the save and a good rebound control. Behind the net, wraps around, and it's picked up by Dakota Keene. 2 red shirts in front of him. He doesn't care. The Poland Maine native takes off. Backhand shot deflected wide, and Keene somehow comes up with a rebound. Keene still with it, and he's able to keep it in. Dakota Keene went around the world there in the zone and is still the first player to get there. Able to find McGregor. 4th line with a rare shift. McGregor taken down to his butt. Still fighting for it. Has Caruso there with Keene giving him some backup. Caruso absorbs a big blow. He's already been in the penalty box 3 times today. Caruso trying to fight through traffic. Keene takes a quick shot, wristed just wide.
Great shift here by this 4th line. Their best of the day. That should give this Beacons team a little bit of momentum here after this change. Just go for icing. Cortland's got to stay on the ice here. They're trying to sneak guys. This is a huge opportunity. Got to go with your top line here if you're UMass Boston.
And here comes Peter Belisle. Move. Get into the zone. The Beacons know that Cortland's going to be tired. And here comes the top line. Daniel Nakbar, their top face-off taker today. A solid 9 of 12 in the first 2 periods. 18 of 23 yesterday. Let's see if he can win it back for Harrington. Nakbar unable to win this one. A big win by Pericek, the top line center for SUNY Cortland. Nicken comes up with a loose puck, being badgered by a pair of players. Nicken will just send it in on net, but an easy save for Nick Medica. Nicken gets it back, trying to get it through 2 players. Puck is loose right behind him, and Cortland will clear the zone, but not much further as they're going to make a change. Sent onto the tape of a Cortland player, and there's a quick wrist shot that whistles wide. Another save from McBurney, and he has to make yet another save. Puck is loose in front in the slot. Beck trying to get a shot up. McBurney makes the kick save. Puck is loose in the crease. No one's on top of it. And finally the whistle from Steve Benoit.
Well, we talked about it after the second period that McBurney was going to be called upon in this period. You knew Cortland, after 2 strong periods, could smell the chance to win this hockey game. They were going to throw some things at him. And a great stop. You know, a couple easy ones there where you're just kind of taking away the lower half of the net. But anytime that puck is just loose, just outside the crease, and you got players whacking away at it, you don't get a good read. And so as a goaltender, you just try to take away the lower half of the ice, and as soon as you see it, you try to grab it. And McBurney did a great job of remaining balanced, not getting too anxious, and then corralling that puck once he had a chance.
Shorey comes up with a loose puck in the face-off dot and nearly skated in on net. The Beacons will send it down. This should not be enough for an icing. Coming back to get that one is Schiebel. Schiebel will whistle this one all the way down. That is clearly an icing, and the Beacons will go down the other end for a face-off, and it looks like they're going to keep that second unit out there of Roviak, Bross, and Redler. Combined for 2 of the Beacons' 3 goals yesterday as Roviak gives the sign to Redler, who's in there right behind Zach Bross, the St. Louis, Missouri native. Roviak versus Bross versus Crowley, and Crowley wins it. Zach Bross, a little bit of a strange position today in the center spot for the second straight game with Chris Peters unavailable. Helt has it taken off his stick by his teammate Redler. Redler shot from distance, and the rebound bouncing around finds Roviak in the slot. He sends a quick shot high, Bross tips up the rebound, but an easy glove save for Nick Modica.
And again, that tracking of Modica as Redler was waiting there backdoor. Now, if he doesn't get a good read on that or fumbles it somehow out of his glove, that's an easy tap in for Redler. But instead, 2 good saves, remains calm, puck kind of floats in. And you see some goaltenders really struggle. They can't catch the puck. You know, they kind of swat at it. There's another one. I mean, clearly Modica, enough of an athlete, probably played a little bit of baseball. You'd be surprised how many goaltenders struggle with the simple task of just catching the puck. Not the case for 33.
Well, when Bailey McBurney transferred in from Sacred Heart University after his first semester, the first thing that you and I recognized was that he loved gloving the puck. It's not something that he's good at. It's something that he's great at. As there's a shot from Bryant that's deflected wide. And apparently we've got a matchup of great players with their gloves, as Modica has been splashing the leather quite a lot
all day. And reminiscent of a great in the NHL, Kern Vezina trophy holder, Pecorine, catches everything. As anytime, even if it's on his blocker side, if he can, he'll catch it. Just more control with that glove hand than you normally get with the pads or with the blocker.
Lester gives it across for LaValle, and the stretch pass goes off the back of the stick there of Doug Elkstem, and it's set in. That wasn't going to be an icing, so the Beacons play it. There's a loose stick just outside the Cortland zone. Could play a little bit of trickery for either side. Cortland on the near side, skating with it with speed is Bailu. Bailu able to find Ritchie, was the extra skater, but he's had to play a little bit more of a role today after Nico Gonzalez went down, and there's McBurney tapping the puck away with his stick. Finally, that loose stick is picked up. Cortland controls, and now the Beacons come away with it. Albano able to feed it ahead, but the Beacons are in the midst of a change. Riley will dump, and he'll head off as the Beacons' fourth line heads back out there. Caruso trying to fight through to provide some forecheck pressure with 12:44 to go in a 1-1 game. Haven't seen a goal in well over 20 minutes. Getting closer to 40 at this point. Albano able to come up with it, loses an edge, and just able to tap it forward. Here's Dakota Keene, who quite literally skated circles around Cortland his last shift out there. Albano just trying to send it ahead. This is going to be nice unless Nakbar gets there, and he doesn't have a chance. Not the greatest play there from Albano. Anytime you're giving up an offensive zone draw in a tie game, especially late, you're a little bit worried you're the team in the defensive zone.
Yeah, you see talking about it with Knockbauer there, and important draw. Faceoffs becoming so critical in this hockey game, and you know, for the kids out there might be listening, boy, you want to play at a collegiate level. You, as a center, you better be good on your draws.
Nakbar wins it against Pericak, top line center versus top line center. Nick Albano sitting on 49 points in his 41st collegiate game. Boy, would he love to get to 50. Passes it ahead for Harrington. Has Nakbar heading to the net. Harrington's shot knocked down. A nice job by Cortland to get in the shooting lane. They look to go the other way with speed. Pericak absorbs a hit but gets around Sanapass, who ended up taking the worst of that hit. Pass ahead for Nakbar's knockdown, and it's wise play by Alex Storjahan, who just will send it in, and Cortland will get 5 new skaters out there. Stretch pass right onto the tape of Nicken. Tries to float it ahead by Nakbar, but it's knocked down by Cortland. Storjahan avoids the big hit by Help by just playing a little bit possum and falling to the ice first. Probably a wise move, as Evan Held is not the guy you want to knock you down. Couple Beacons, couple Red Dragons in along the boards. Crowley has it knocked away. Nicken waiting on it. Nicken tries to turn and finds Carter. Carter's only option is Sanapass, who couldn't quite hold on to that puck, and Beck will dump it in with 2 players chasing. 11:19 to go in the third period. Still 1-1 in this 54th annual Codfish Bowl title game. Nathan Nicken comes away with it. The Beacons have been out there for a while. You have to expect the dump, and all 5 Beacons will head off, and 4 Cortland players will join them. Tired legs here on day 2, the first weekend of 2019 play. Sometimes the legs are not quite where they were in late December. Bouncing around, it's picked up by Chukrin. Senior captain out of Pennsylvania looking to win his first ever Codfish Bowl. The Beacons haven't won in the past 5 seasons. Behind the net, it's Bross. Bross has an option up top. It's Gallagher. Bross still with it all the way into the slot. Bross looking for the shot. It's knocked down as Roviak was in front of Modica providing the screen. And I think Roviak might have actually been the player who deflected it down. Delayed offsides call here on SUNY Cortland. Elkstam gets the turn on Gallagher in tight. Tries to leave it across. It's kicked away by McBurney. Oh, what a beautiful effort there by Doug Elkstam, the Stockholm, Sweden native.
Not a spot where you usually see the spin move there, but at this far blue line, and was able to create a little bit of a breakaway. A very creative play there.
Great cross-ice pass to find a Red Dragon. Elkston picks it up in the far circle and hits the netting in behind McBurney. Fortunately, a little bit higher than he was looking. Doug Elkston looks phenomenal right now, and let's take a look at that last spinorama.
Yeah, that might have hit the crossbar a little bit too, but look at that move, huh? It's a little bit of, and you see, the skating ability of a lot of these players today, a lot of them taking lessons as they grow up with power skating, figure skating coaches. That's where that comes into play. A lot of players from years past can't do that. I mean, honestly, definitely not at full speed, and you see there a little bit of a spin move at center ice there. That's that great save by McBurney there off the draw.
Forced to make a great save after two Beacons collided with each other looking for the loose puck. That almost was catastrophic for the Beacons as Albano gets around one hit. The Beacons are asking for it, and they're going to get it. That's going to be a knee, and now can Albano avoid giving it right back? And I think they're both going to go, but it's probably going to be a double minor on Richie, who gave the initial penalty.
I'll tell you what, if Albano, it was a terrible play by Albano. If he had a clear power play for his team.
They're going to send two for SUNY Cortland. It's going to be Richie after the hit, and believe the other player is going to be Alonzi for the initial hit.
So and I know he was, Albano. Now see, okay, so he's going to get, that's a trip. Clearly a trip there. There's your minor. Okay, now watch after the whistle though. Albano, and right there, that extra shot. Boy, you would love for him. I know it's easy from up here in the booth for me to say it. You just love for him to just be able to skate away there.
Cool head. You need to keep a cool head.
You've got now instead and the thing that really hurts here, he quarterbacks the power play. The power play tends to run through him, whether he's shooting or he's not shooting. He sets up plays. Just his frustration there, I get it. But that's one of those you really got to find a way to bury that and just try and skate away, because now you'll still get the power play. But instead of seeing the power play time, from Albano,
it's Carter instead of...
Still fully capable, but I think just selfishly, if you're Albano, man, you just got to find a way to skate away from that one.
So the Beacons will go on the man advantage. Two players in the box for Cortland, Alonzi and Richie. Alonzi with the initial trip, hitting out to the whistle on Richie, and then Albano matching him with the hitting out to the whistle. It's Carter right now for Chucker, who had space, but we'll give it off for Bross. Under 10 to play. Redler has his shot knocked down. Now Cortland trying to change. There's a Beacon there, and Carter has tons of time to keep it in. 20 seconds gone by on the power play. Beacon's top unit. Chukrin for Bross. Tees up a shot. Goes wide, and Chukrin keeps it in.
What a play. What a play by Chukrin to keep that puck in.
Redler all the way across for Bross. These two players have played together pretty much their entire careers. Carter back for Bross. A minute 20 to go on the man advantage. 9 minutes to go in regulation. Near side. Chukrin tees up a shot. Deflected wide. What a beautiful effort from Schiebel, the defenseman for Cortland.
We'd love to see them run the same play they ran on the goal. A high shot from the blue line, or the high slot. It worked before.
Bross on the far side. Tried to find Redler. Skittered off of his stick for Chukrin. Chukrin not as much of a goal scorer as Albano, but he's out there on the power play. It's Bross. Bross looking for Carter. No communication. It goes down the length of the ice. That's the difference between having Albano and Carter out there. A little bit of miscommunication on the power play unit. And then Redler, recognizing that he's being pressured, will send it back into the end. This is going to kill off 10 to 15 seconds as the second unit is out there. Sanipass gloved down by a Cortland player, but Sanipass able to pressure Gatos and keep it alive. Behind the net, it's Nicken. Still 30 seconds left. The Beacon's second unit is out there. Skinner for Harrington and right back. Skinner all the way across, able to find Gallagher. Gallagher in front, and Sanipass just couldn't quite get there in time. Again, had some open space on the near side. Sanipass able to find Skinner, down to 12 on the man advantage. The Beacons scored in their first power play, 0 for 3 since. Skinner denied by the shoulder with 5.
Got to watch the box here.
Sanipass with it up top, leaves it for Harrington. Harrington nearly loses the puck. Has to be wise with where he sends it down low for Nakbar. Nakbar at the top of the circle had his shot tipped up, and we will get a stoppage in the offensive zone draw as the Beacons get Albano out of the box, and Richie and Alonzi return to the bench for SUNY Cortland.
Yeah, more of the same here for UMass Boston. Again, a lot of shots on goal in that power play, and getting pucks through, just didn't have an answer for it. Modica with a few more saves today. He's had a busy night, but as expected, coming away with a lot of saves. We knew he was a strong goaltender, but this has been a fantastic outing for 33.
Peter Belisle showing a lot of faith in his fourth line as they come out here after the power play. Crowley in front and denied his back. He scored the game-winning goal yesterday in the third period. Not going to get it there as Bailey McBurney continues to make a strong case for his MVP candidacy no matter who scores the game-winning goal for UMass Boston if they get the game-winning goal.
Yeah, both goaltenders strong in their net today.
Strong in their net all weekend. Remember, it was Medica with 46 saves on 47 shots yesterday for the Beacons. McBurney made 31 saves on 32 shots. Puck is loose in the Cortland end. The Beacons still with that fourth line out there. Albano back on the ice for the first time since he was sent off. Albano's shot tipped high with under 7 to go. Can either team find a goal here in the third? They haven't scored since late in the first. Cortland will send it down. This is going to be an icing, and Albano's not going to show the speed as the Beacons will get those tired legs out for Cortland. And remember, SUNY Cortland used their timeout in the second period. They don't have a timeout to potentially use here or even later in this contest.
Well, you know, and I'm again, Coach Blyle, you know, I can't believe they're allowing this. This is the third or fourth time now we're on an icing. Cortland clearly just disregards the referee or the linesman putting their hand up. And then you do this like you should be getting a delay of game.
At what point do you typically?
It's been happening all game, and Coach Blyle, you know, clearly trying to send a message to the referees that this is not a mistake anymore. This is clearly something they try to do. They try to make a change and just disregard the linesman or the referee on an icing, and they should be getting called for it, Seth.
Albano pinches forward to keep the play alive. Nicking can't quite find it. Gets some help from Albano, tips it up high, and we've got a stoppage. And they're going to say that caught the low netting. What a bad break for the Beacons there, because all those tired legs for Cortland are able to slowly skate off, and we're going to get a face-off. They're going to say it's out of the zone.
Yeah.
They say that Nickin didn't have it deflected up high. If that caught the netting, it was about as low as that netting goes.
Yeah, tough call there, but we're getting to the crucial, almost becoming that overtime without it being overtime time period. You know what I mean, Seth? 6:26 left to play in this third. You're getting to the point where pretty soon it's going to be next goal wins, even though it still says third period.
6:18 to go. Remember, if this game were to go to overtime, 5-minute overtime, and then a 3v3 shootout, Harrington right into the chest, and Medica holds on for dear life. That one came in like a missile, and Medica able to hold on. He has been simply phenomenal this weekend, and we're going to take a look at that replay right now.
Yeah, the puck wasn't flat there. You could see as this puck comes towards the blue line, it's fluttering, and that creates havoc for the goaltender. That's why Modica kind of really leaning on that leg, squeezing his side as much as possible. And another save there off the draw, but a good stop from Modica on a puck that was changing direction on its way in.
Behind the net, it's Redler. Redler trying to feed in front, and it's Bross denied. Modica is down, able to get back up as SUNY Cortland was claiming goaltender interference. Great look for Bross in front, but again, who else? It's Nick Modica. Puck sent up into the rafters. This is going to stay in, and we'll see which line the Beacons will send out. They're going to send that top unit back off, but Beacons are double shifting right now between the first and the second unit. I don't know the next time we'll see the third or the fourth.
Well, you know, it's situational, and I think with these in-zone draws, he wants his best offensive players out there, so I don't blame him going with what the Beacons refer to as the white and the red line. And 5:49 here again, faceoffs. Can't stress it enough. Faceoffs becoming so critical right now for both teams.
Big win by Crowley as Nakbar tries to win it back. Over for LaValle. Shorey trying to clear and unable to do so. A nice pinch from Garrett Gallagher, the Beacons assistant captain. Medica at the last whistle. 42 saves on 43 shots. Remember, he made 46 of them yesterday. He has been rock solid for his team this weekend. 88 saves on 90 shots. That's a full month's worth for some goalies. As it's Gallagher trying to get it across, and Crowley, the linesman, knocked that down to the benefit of the Red Dragons. Nicken able to beat the double team. Nicken from the near circle. Quick shot, and it whistles wide. Coming on is Chuckring, as there was almost too many players there for SUNY Cortland. A player, Elgston, came on and tried to play it, recognized he might be called for too many men. Now it's Nakbar with Sanapass heading towards the net, and he misses high and wide, and that's the place you hate to miss, Matt, as it allowed SUNY Cortland to go the other way, and it's a chance 3v3. Shorey couldn't find it. Now it bounces out, and the Beacons will try to win the foot race. Redler does so. Defenseman comes on, but Redler will get the shot off, and it's an easy save for Medica. Back and forth they go. Good looks for either side with under 5 minutes to play in the 54th annual Codfish Bowl championship game. Bross, the wraparound effort as he got help from Rakowiak. And behind the net, it's Redler in front for Bross from his knees, trying to send it off the back of the goaltender, and Medica doesn't know where it is, but he's happy to hear the whistle.
Now, let's not forget, Cortland used their timeout in the second period here. And with all these offensive draws, the coaching staff for the Beacons is going to have a decision because you don't want to allow Cortland an extra effort, a chance to draw something up from a defensive perspective. However, you do want to make use of your offensive draws, so you got to be I'll be very curious to see where the Beacons use their timeout, if they do at all, but it should be noted that Cortland does not have theirs as they used it in the second period. So 4:24 left here in the third.
Beacons' third line gets a shift here. It's Stevie Bryant with a clean win. Albano's shot goes right into Keller, and then it'll be a backhand feed. Chance here for an icing, and Harrington is not going to win the foot race, they say. Storjahan does just enough. Along the near side, the puck is going to get out of the zone just barely, and now they're going to send it back in, wrapping around the near boards. Albano is there alongside Riley. Bryant behind his own net. The freshman able to find Skinner, who gets knocked down. Beacons with a half-hearted ask for a penalty. It's tough to get one this late in a tie game, especially in a championship game. Skinner trying to turn, whips it around, looking for Bryant, but his back was turned. This won't be enough for an ice. Oh! Lester slowed down, and I could have skated faster than that. And, folks, I cannot ice skate, and that is a very interesting call.
Yeah, it's the puck took like an extra bounce there.
I mean, it was skittering through snow. It was slowing down. I mean, that would have been
does he want to take it? He's not going to take it. I thought Blyle might take the time out here. He's going to run with the unit he's got.
Young legs for UMass Boston right now. Freshman and sophomore on defense. Sophomore and two freshmen, the forwards, but they're able to get it out of the zone. A big job by that third line, and Albano and Harrington. Cortland will come the other way. DiMatteo sends it off the back of Ritchie. Harrington the first one there. Harrington absorbed that big hit that drew the 5-minute major on Nico Gonzalez. Harrington gets all the way across, and he'll just float it in as the Beacons will get 5 new skaters out there. Top line coming on. Nakbar wins it. Has Sanipass heading to the net. Nakbar gets around 2 players as DiMatteo lost his edge there. Now Nakbar still with it, looking for options, trying the wrap around. Sanipass couldn't quite get there, and Alonzi will go the other way. Sanipass badgering Alonzi, not enough for a call. Now a chance in tight, and it's whipped wide there on a very good look from Shane Bailu. Good defensive work by Lester to knock Nitkin off the puck. Under 3 to play now. And it's still a 1-1 game. Sanipass for Chukrin. Able to find Gallagher. Gallagher whiffs on the pass, and it's Bailu. Bailu trying to set it in front. Sanipass is going to be called for the penalty interference there. And a huge mistake by a pair of seniors for UMass Boston.
Yeah, Gallagher, whiffs on the pass, and then I wasn't really sure what the call was going to be on Garrison. They'll call interference there. Not the end of the world here for a penalty kill that's at 94%, but obviously less than ideal with 2:35 left to play in the third. A huge opportunity here for Cortland as they've worked hard to keep this game tied all game. We saw a look there on the replay, but again, 2:35 in the period, still 2 minutes on the minor, and so for the remainder of this game, or the majority of it, UMass will be shorthanded.
McGregor and Keene, the forwards. That was a nice job by Keene to battle along the blue line and get it out of the zone. 2:38 to go to start this power play, so the Beacons will be back 5-on-5, even if they kill off the power play here in regulation. Bouncing puck, we've got a penalty. Just a high stick. Yeah. Excuse me, I thought we were going to get an interference, and the face-off will come out of the zone just past the Beacons blue line.
Can't imagine you take your time out here. Coaching staff talking about it a little bit. I can't imagine this would be your chance to take it. Puck out of the zone. Yeah, no.
Again, it'll be McGregor working against Shorey, and another clean win by David McGregor, the senior out of Azusa, California. Beacons will just flip it down the length of the ice. 1:30 to go on the man advantage. 2 minutes to go in regulation. SUNY Cortland trying to win the Codfish Bowl in their first ever entrance. UMass Boston looking to win their first in 5 years. Shorey with some good stick work, but Nick Albano roughs him up, and they battle behind the net. Puck is loose. It's Shorey up top, finds Lester already with 1 goal, and he skitters it wide. Good look from Oliver Lester, who was looking for his first collegiate game-winning goal in addition to his first collegiate goal. Up top, it's Bailu. Lester wants it, tees it up, and the shot gets deflected up off McBurney's shoulder and into the netting with 1:03 to go on the man advantage.
Big save. That was a nice play from Cortland. And just a slap shot from the blue line, but put it into a spot where you could really get everything on it there. Lester already with 1 goal today. and he fired that one blocker side high. I'll show you the replay here. Just a really nice play from low to high from Cortland. Just a simple pass up top and then puts this right. And that's right where, if any player, I'll tell you, from a one-timer, some guys like it a little bit slightly on the front foot, slightly on the back foot, depending on where your release point is. But that was right in the wheelhouse, and good stop from McBurney to keep this thing tied.
Shorey wins it clean, but Chuckford able to get it out of the zone with a minute 30 to go, 55 on the man advantage, and Cortland will take their time in their own zone. It's Lester, the goal scorer, pushing it forward for Alonzi, the captain. Lester right back. Remember, Cortland has won 3 consecutive tournaments in the regular season, including the Skidmore Invitational last year. The captain, Michael Crowley, looking for his 3rd regular season title in 4 seasons. Not bad for a team that has not been over 500 since 2001-02. Storjahan into the zone with 26 left. Right onto the tape on the far side. Rebound loose. Storjahan scores. A perfect play that the Beacons love, and it's Storjahan from Tierney. And with 56.8 seconds left, SUNY Cortland leads UMass Boston.
Well, you can kind of feel it coming. And UMass, this is just, you've seen this before in hockey. Anybody who's watched this game, you've seen it before. Just a team where you see off the replay here, a very simple play. It's a shot off pad. I mean, you said it, UMass runs this play all the time. UMass Boston converges to the front of the net, instead goes towards the far side. And they've seen this all too many times at many different levels. A team just throwing everything they can and can't find a way to score, and then sure enough, team hangs around long enough in order to score on their own. So UMass really up against it now, down 2-1 with 57 seconds, 56.8 on the clock here, and you really got to draw. You got to draw something. Now they do have a couple plays here, center ice plays that they run that are deep in the playbook. You got to go all the way back in the proverbial playbook to pull them out. Some of them I've seen who have been effective. I'm not going to give the names or what they run in case there's any enemies to UMass listening on air, but they do have some plays in the playbook that they can run here to generate some quick offense.
56.8. Do you pull the goalie on the initial faceoff, or do you wait to get it into the zone?
I think you got to win it. I think you send the guy, keep him halfway, put him into a position where he has less distance to cover. You assume that on a win they're going to take him immediately, but as soon as they've got to have possession first. Too easy. Most players today from this distance can score. So you've got to, McBurney, I believe, will probably go halfway, and I think you would probably have to go four forwards here. They're going to go, I guess, when you've got Albano, he counts as a forward. So Albano and Chukrin on the defensive side.
I don't understand the decision. It's Bross in the faceoff dot versus Crowley instead of Nakbar, and it allows Cortland to win the faceoff. It's into the hands of Albano with 50. Beacon still had McBurney in the net. Long stretch pass from Chukrin, tipped by Redler. The icing is off, McBurney is off, and the Beacons are in the zone. A lot of pressure coming there from Bross. Albano's got to step forward. Albano able to keep it in the zone with 36. 6-on-5. The net is empty for the Beacons. Cortland just trying to pin it in along the boards. UMass Boston needs to dig it out. A Beacon goes down. Bross can't get there. Diving effort from a Cortland player to keep it alive, and they're going to have a chance to clear, and a wise play just to send it across rather than shoot it down the length of the ice. The Beacons down to 20, and SUNY Cortland is killing time. Down to 15. The Beacons have yet to get a shot here in the last 57 seconds. Nakbar leaves it off for Bross, stolen away by Crowley. Down to 10. Cortland still trying to kill clock. Bross tries to send it in on net. It's deflected behind the net with 4. Redler in front for Santa Pass, and that is going to do it. UMass Boston again falls short by a goal in the championship game as there's pushing and shoving on the far side. Bross in it, Redler and Santa Pass there as well. But Matt, as we have seen time and time again, a team with a very hot goalie comes in, stays with the Beacons for long enough, and is able to earn the crown of Codfish Bowl champs.
Yeah, it's a familiar theme. It seems to be every year UMass Boston just can't find a way to win their own tournament. I mean, talk about snake bitten. They do not. The one thing that they refuse to do is bring in teams that are just real wash-ups. You know, easy wins where they can just put their name on the trophy every time. They bring in teams that are legitimate. And you see here a Cortland team very excited. This is a huge win. Is a team that's looking for wins this year, despite the fact that they're going to get some hardware, more so about beating the number 8 team in the country. And UMass Boston starting off 2019 with a loss. This is not how the coaching staff drew it up.
No, it's not. But again, Matt, it's so frustrating because you and I, we talked about it before the start of the third period. I mean, give all credit to SUNY Cortland. Really, it all starts with Nick Medica because the man made well over 40 saves, probably closer to 50, made nearly 100 on the weekend. So
MVP of the tournament.
I mean,
it's
a
not even
blind
close.
man who didn't listen to our broadcast would know that. But this is just it's got to feel so difficult. I mean, anytime you lose on your home ice, that's terrible. This is the first time the Beacons have done that. But for this senior group, they've lost 3 straight title games by a goal. I think they clearly outplayed SUNY Cortland today. The last 2 years were closer to Salve Regina.
Yep.
It feels like same old, different opponent, different goalie, but more of the same.
All I can do is laugh. Unfortunately for me, up in the press box, if you will, it's easy to do. It's very frustrating for the players on the ice. But there is something about this tournament. There's something that happens. It doesn't matter if UMass is a 500 hockey team, less than 500, or well over as they are this year. Something happens to them in this tournament where they just cannot find a way to bring home the hardware. And you said it, clearly outplayed Cortland tonight. I think that anyone, even Cortland fans, would admit well outshot, and there was just a lot of things that went wrong for UMass Boston. Couldn't find a way to score, and Cortland was able to capitalize late enough, hang around. You got to give them credit. That's one way to win hockey games. You just hang around long enough, you put it on your goaltender, and you score when you get an opportunity to, and walk out of here with a 2-1 win against the number 8 team in the country.
Well, and give Nick Cardarelli and his staff credit. They've won 10 games each of the last 2 years, which was their most wins since 2007-08. A big win today, back-to-back wins to start 2019 after a losing streak. This team isn't towards the top of the SUNYAC right now, 0-5 versus the top 5 teams, but they battle.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing in these tournaments, especially here in the Codfish Bowl, which doesn't matter if it's the men's or women's tournament. It seems like fluky bounces, not even fluky bounces, but the bounces tend to go the opposing team's way. You just have to look through the history books. But SUNY Cortland, first-time entry, they come all the way down. I mean, this is not a short trip up from upstate New York. This Gabe Chukrin wins the Sportsmanship Award. Beacons captain who, I mean, he'll put on a smile for the photo, but he's got to be emotionally torn up right now with how well he played. I mean, he made so many huge plays on that 5-minute major to keep the puck in. He really, of all the Beacons defensemen, he certainly played the most minutes, and to not win a Codfish Bowl in his 4 years, that's got to be a little rough.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Definitely deserves one, and if he wanted to, I think a player that can play at the next level, what does enough things well, where if he wanted to spend some time playing professionally, he could. But here you have Nick Modique. No question. I mean, this guy was stopping everything this tournament. Cortland's got to be happy with what they have in net. I mean, if they can produce that night in and night out, they're going to be in more games than they're going to be out of. And the goaltender, 33, Medica from Suffern, New York, did a fantastic job, not just tonight, but yesterday as well, tournament in whole.
An even 90 saves on 92 shots, not too bad, as you see the captain there, Stefano Lanzi, pick up the championship trophy, and he'll be joined by his team, although taking a little bit of time to celebrate. Give all the credit to SUNY Cortland, but I'm excited that we won't have another Codfish Bowl for another 10 months because it just seems eerily similar, and it's tough to continue watching a strong performance fall by the wayside. Again, Bailey McBurney was phenomenal today, and 2 of the 3 goals that he allowed this weekend were really not his fault. That rebound, you've got to have help on the backside.
Yeah, no, this was a good hockey game. I mean, despite the fact that there was hardware and the fact that UMass Boston is a nationally ranked program, Cortland is not, this was a fantastic hockey game. Both teams battled, did their part. It was just a matter of one team was able to capitalize late enough to produce a win, and UMass Boston just continues to find ways to lose these hockey games. It seems they do not do well in this tournament. It's a blemish since 2014. It's been a blemish, and hopefully next year a better chance. But you got to give credit where credit's due, and the Cortland Red Dragons did a fantastic job tonight.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to get you the final stats. Look at the replays real quick, and we might hear from Peter Bilal, though I don't really know if he wants to talk to us.
I'll let you deal with that.
So we're going to take one last commercial break, and then we'll close it out. A strong start to 2019 here on the Beacons Broadcast Network, even if the games didn't all necessarily go UMass Boston's way.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact. not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just the starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go.
What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
And welcome back for our Beacons Broadcast Network postgame show. It's going to be a little bit abbreviated today. Matt had to run. He's got tickets to the Bruins game. Maybe they'll play better. Maybe they'll get a better result than UMass Boston. It's tough to say they'll play better, as UMass Boston played extremely well. We'll show you the final stats first. I mean, the stats would say that UMass Boston was the better team in this game. But, of course, our stats decided to flunk out at the wrong time. I'll read them off to you really quick. Shots 45-31 in favor of UMass Boston, 44 saves for Nick Medica, 29 for Bailey McBurney, who finished with 60 saves on 63 shots, not too bad. The Beacons with a 36-32 advantage in faceoffs. SUNY Cortland 2 for 5 on the power play against the nation's top power play. That's a big story. UMass Boston 1 for 4. Penalties 7 for 25 for SUNY Cortland, 7 for 14 for UMass Boston. Our 3 stars, well, that was pretty easy. Nick Medica won the MVP trophy, 90 saves on 92 shots, including 44 of 45 today. So he was the number 1 star. Number 2 star, Bailey McBurney. He made some huge saves today. A 30-save performance for McBurney. And then 29-save performance, and then Alex Storjahan, the game-winning goal, his team-leading 7th goal. One of the easier picks for me this season. Remember, as tough as this game was for UMass Boston, the games going forward might be more important. The Beacons head to New England College next Friday for a conference game. They put that 8-0-0 record on the line, currently at 2-0 on the road in conference. They're going to have 4 consecutive road games. They'll be at Southern Maine next Saturday and then travel to Castleton and Norwich the following weekend. Take a look real quick at the highlights of that third period before we wrap up, including the game-winning goal. Early on, it was all UMass Boston. That was really the story for long segments of this game. That's the great look, Nicken finding Nick Albano and the bouncing puck. So we move along. This is a nice save from McBurney as it bounces around a couple times, the wraparound, and it ends up with Beck, who scored the game-winning goal yesterday. And finally, we get a whistle as that puck was loose in the crease for quite a while. We'll go down the other way right now as UMass Boston controlling behind the net, able to get it to Bros, who goes all the way around into the slot, and then a tough shot ends up off the shoulder of Medica and falls Cortland's way. Here's the beautiful spin move from Elgstom. Heads in on net and then tries to pass it, but it's kicked away by McBurney, who just played so well this weekend. Off the faceoff, a couple Beacons collide there, and there's the quick shot. Another big save from Bailey McBurney. Here's the trip that led the Beacons to their lone power play of that third period as Albano gets knocked down, and then the contact between him and Ritchie. That hurt the Beacons as Albano wasn't able to be on the power play with Carter replacing him. And then you see the Beacons' best chance on the power play. The pass in front, and again, Santa Pass unable to get his stick down. Not to pick on Garrison, who took that late penalty, but he had a couple of chances today, just couldn't quite knock it in like he's been doing this season. Another great save from Santa Pass. Here's a good look from UMass Boston. And then holding on behind the net. Here's Redler, the feed for Bros, and denied the quick right leg of Medica, who just made all kinds of saves. He's going to need a long ice bath on the way up to Cortland, but it's always nice. And here was the penalty caused by the turnover by Gallagher and Santa Pass. Just enough contact there. The penalty leading to the game-winning goal. As you see here up top, a couple of looks from the blue line that McBurney's able to make, but later it's the pass across, and Storjahan able to get the rebound and put it into a wide open net, a play the Beacons love to run. And the Beacons never got another shot. UMass Boston couldn't generate anything in the final 56.8 as they weren't able to win the faceoff. Love to give a shout out to our production crew who worked all the games this weekend. My name is Seth Dorensky. Your play-by-play guy was joined by Matt Meisenbacher, the people behind the scenes, Gigi Braga directing, Kelly Danahy on graphics, Allie Crawford on replay, our camera operators, Alyssa Fugel, Mary Jo Murphy, Katie Pasquale, and Grace Oliver doing a great job. The men's hockey team, they're away for the next 2 weekends. They'll be back in late January. You can join us on the Beacons Broadcast Network this next Thursday as the basketball teams host Plymouth State at 5:30 and 7:30. Thanks so much for watching, folks. The winner of the 54th Annual Codfish Bowl Championship, it's SUNY Cortland 2, UMass Boston 1.